Championships Outdoor Singles. I'm Jake Shuknik, joined by my sister Katie. How are you today, Katie?
I'm doing pretty well. How are you?
I'm doing good. Our feature match, round 3 this morning, is Battle of Ontario. We have Ontario 2, which is Cindy Higgins, versus Ontario 4, which is Mary Lou Richards. I believe that Cindy is using the red bowls, while Mary Lou is using
Green?
greenish color, yeah.
Well, that was good weight for Cindy.
Big. So 2 bowls each. Looking at the head here, kind of spread around. Not quite sure if Mary Lou's top left green won a shot or Cindy's one on the right. Coming down, looks like it has a bit of pace to it. Will it find a friend? Doesn't need
It
to.
found the jack.
Doesn't need to.
Lovely shot by Cindy, but I don't think she rolled it far enough.
Marker is pointing to the red bowl, which would make me think that maybe she did. Gonna try to open up the standings here. If you head over to bowlscanada.com and go to events, you'll find the 2022 Canadian Lawn Bowling Championships, and on the right hand side you can find the singles schedule and standings. Oh, what a great shot from Mary Lou. Again, I'm not sure if that changed much. I guess maybe that shot itself.
Marker's pointing to the green one.
Sarah, you are correct. It is a sibling broadcast. It has been a while since I've seen you, actually. I don't even know the last time I would have seen you.
Easter, maybe?
Easter, yeah. If that. Did I come home for Easter? I don't even know if I did.
You were home for Christmas when the other kids were up.
Yeah, so I guess that would have been last time I made my way up to District 8, Chesley. So finally opening up the scoring here, schedule and results. We are looking at pool number 4, and I can see Cindy Higgins is 2-0, while Mary Lou is the exact opposite, 0-2. So Cindy's looking to secure her way out of this group, while Mary Lou is hoping to win out to give herself a chance. And that was a great effort from Cindy, just sailing through the head there. Pretty small hole to get through. And apologies for the plane overhead. So, Ontario 2 is Cindy. I should maybe update the scoreboard to actually let us know who's who. Cindy Higgins. Ontario 4 is MLR.
They've taken out one bowl for shot. I'm going to measure here for second.
So that would be Mary Lou getting off to at least a 1-0 start, maybe 2. I had the pleasure of running a few club coach workshops this year. Big thanks to Mary Lou for helping me get that organized, as we're able to do 5 out of 8 modules over Zoom now. And
2.
so I've worked with Mary Lou quite a bit, and the most recent one, Cindy actually attended, even though she's been a coach for years, just because she wanted a refresher and to see what we're teaching now, and she absolutely loved it. So interesting that over Zoom I've been able to talk to both of these women about coaching.
Mary Lou got 2.
2 for MLR. You can see she's got the mat up a little bit ahead of the tee, but not by much. trying to go tee to tee, but I think she put it in the ditch. Nope, just staying
Not
on.
quite.
Very close. So we're playing full length here. How are the greens in Chesley these days?
Pretty fast. Typical greens, wide on one side, narrow on the other.
Just like every 15, all 15 rinks in Chesley are pretty much the same.
We only have 14 rinks now.
Only 14.
Only
so
14,
so
yeah.
you lost one somewhere.
We lost one.
Is it the one at near the clubhouse or the one at the other end?
I think we lost half a rink on both sides.
Oh, all right. Well, never mind then. If you've never been to Chesley, it's not a typical 8-green facility. It is just 14, I guess, rinks all in a row side by side.
Yeah.
Long rectangle. So Cindy found a friend there and was able to stick around for a shot right now. And are you still the president at Chesley?
I am still the president.
Year 1, year 2?
Year 6.
Year 6, okay. Good afternoon, Peter Moak, tuning in. I'm assuming you're back home in Alberta. And Mary Speece tuning in from Laguna Beach, California. So we've gone international. Nice to have you with us, Mary. So Cindy seems to have missed that line. Did you find last game that the players were struggling with either hand, or did it seem to be pretty even?
They found the right side more than the left.
So
the left has a bit of a swing to it.
So the ditch hand side,
Yeah.
which would be their forehand right now,
Yeah.
near the clubhouse.
It has a bit of a ridge. If you get out, it don't come back.
So Mary Lou is looking to find a friend with this one, as that looks a little quick. Grab the jack
She's
on her
got
way
the
through.
jack.
So that'll be one green bull here. And she's got a lot of position now, and Cindy's waving to ask a question. Is it jack high? I would imagine she's going to play a similar shot of just stay on her forehand and try to push Mary Lou through. She can grab the green. She's laughing. She's in the neighborhood.
She is. She's got
And
no.
just
It's,
diving.
yeah.
That took a quick turn at the end. I'm not sure what kind of bull she's using, but that was a hard hook finish.
I believe she's got Henselite bulls.
Oh, okay. Last bull here from Mary Lou. I think she's drawn around the outside of the red. Not there to really matter. Will we see more weight from Cindy here to get it to hold up?
That's a little heavier than her last one.
And now it's not bending in time.
Well, she found a friend, but I don't know how far behind the jack that is.
Well, don't think it really matters. It's going to be one to Mary Lou based off of what I can see on the TV here. There's one green one beside it, and the rest are all red seconds. So 3-0 start for Mary Lou. Looking at the green on the other side of this one, that obviously the camera's out of view. The first rink they're playing that's closest to the parking lot, it looks like some of the players have asked for a ground sheet, which you don't really see that very often, that players are requesting one.
No, they usually don't like playing on ground sheets.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever met someone who said yes please to a ground sheet. Charlie Taylor, nice to have you with us. Hope you're enjoying A hot Ottawa summer as you've emigrated from Saskatchewan to Ottawa now. Kind of surprised I didn't see you here, to be honest. I thought you'd win your way through the qualifiers in some capacity or another, but better luck next year, I guess. Nice to see that you're slacking off at work and got bowls on in the background, as we have a beautiful opening bowl here from Mary Lou.
That was a lovely shot.
Yeah, Sarah, good comment. So Cindy was telling the marker where the jack goes. Cindy is an umpire and always a good one at that. So Cindy does quite a bit of everything from coaching to umpiring to helping out at, I believe it's the Midland Lawn Bowling Club up in District 13 she plays out of.
Yes. It's where the provincial senior women are going to be playing next week.
They're in for a treat because that club is absolutely delightful. Tucked away in behind, you follow a long dirt road through some trees to get there, but then it's almost right on a lake, kind of Tanguishene or something like that.
I bowled there earlier this year.
And whoever does their greens has done a tremendous job. They're always great every time I've been there, but it's been quite a few years since I was back up in Midland.
She's a little narrow with that one.
Yeah, she is. Coming up well inside. Maybe a foot or two past the jack. Well, Charlie, you only played fours this year. You'll be more active next year. Well, that'll be good. I'm sure everybody's hoping to be a little more active next year, as we had a 2-year hiatus, and this was the first year we've had national championships in a while. Which, speaking of, if any club wants to put in a bid to host a championship next year, there's a press release on our website where there's a link you can fill out the form to bid on hosting events. So right now, I don't know where anything is going to be next year. So if you've got
Nobody's put in a bid for anything yet?
Well, we've had a couple of, well, I should say we've had one bid on one event so far, but we'll keep the bidding process open until October 1st. So get your bids in now if you want to host. Great opportunity to make a lot of money, get some new members, get some publicity, and get some upgrades for your club too. So there's a lot of benefits to hosting. In the time we've been here in Burlington, they've got 2 new members for sure that I saw firsthand. They've also got a fairly good bit of grant money coming in, and that's another great bowl from Mary Lou.
And she's sitting 3, I think. Looks like.
And then the legacy upgrades of things like new speaker systems, new internet, new bleachers, new ditch boards, new whatever. Typically when you host something, part of the funding is going to go towards upgrades. So if your club is starting to look like it needs an upgrade, then get that bid in. Sarah says she feels like a lobster, so let's go east, please. So Sarah, if you know some people in Eastern Canada, tell them to get a bid in so we can send our events out there. Any club can bid on it now, provided you meet the minimum requirements. So obviously for the majors, we still need 2 greens. So 1 green clubs might need to co-host with someone. But Peter putting in the bid for Alberta. Get your clubs bidding there, Peter. I'd love to come back out to Alberta. I haven't been there since 2016, I think.
That was the year I was there.
Yep, yep.
Edmonton had lovely greens.
Yes, yes they did. And I've heard nothing but great things about Calgary Lawn, too.
I think Mary Lou got 1.
I'll go with your word on that. I'll hop up in a couple ends just to double check.
She's got the cat.
Alberta's a fun province, with Edmonton Commonwealth Club having 4 greens, Calgary Lawn having arguably the best greens in Canada, thanks to Kenny Ulsvik taking care of them. And they also get to boast the largest club in Canada. I believe it's the Highland Park Club that has some 456 members. Charlie would like to get back to Saskatchewan. Well, tell Regina to get a bid in then. They hosted in 2018, so... Sarah saying Alberta's good too. Haven't been there yet. Well, maybe we can get something to Alberta. Tell those clubs to get bidding.
I wouldn't mind going back to Alberta.
I haven't been to New Brunswick or PEI yet. So I'd like to get those clubs or those provinces involved somehow. All right, who are the two ladies we're watching right now? So Ontario 2 is Cindy Higgins. She's using red bowls. And Ontario 4 is Mary Lou Richards. She's using green bowls. Cindy is 2-0, and Mary Lou is 0-2.
But Mary Lou is bowling really well right now.
Absolutely. We were talking to her during her rest time there, downtime between games. Had some questions about para coaches and getting people to get trained on how to coach para bowlers, which is super exciting. But she said that she might just be playing spoiler now after an 0-2 start. She's not sure if she'll be able to claw her way back to finish top 2 in the group. So since she is thinking she might just be playing spoiler, maybe that's taken all the stress and pressure off, and now she's able to relax a little bit more and roll some good bowls here early on this game. There's a nice bowl from Cindy.
Now you have the para championships coming up in Windsor next month.
That is correct. So once we're done here on Thursday, we get a 2-week hiatus before we're off to the Windsor Lawn Bowling Club from September 11 to 14. So we are shortening the para event a little bit. Had fewer entries than we were hoping, which is a little unfortunate, but also understandable with the whole airport chaos going on with Pearson, as well as COVID still being a concern for folks who are immunocompromised. So September 11 to 14 is the Para Championships, our first one ever. And then following that, Windsor is also hosting the Mixed Pairs, which is September 14 to 18. So there'll be a small crossover day and then into the Mixed Pairs, which I'm super excited to run the Para event because I've never attended or seen anything like it. So we have folks with visual impairments and physical impairments who are coming down to...
How many entries do you have?
So we have 9 entries. There are 4 with visual impairments and 5 with physical impairments. I don't quite know what the schedule is going to look like in terms of a draw. Probably singles, probably some sort of a round robin or modified round robin type thing. Typically, if we had enough entries, it would be you'd only play against people in your classification. So there are 8 classifications recognized by International Bowls for the Disabled, and B1 to B4 are varying levels of visual impairment. So B1 being completely blind, B4 being having some vision, and then B5 to B8 are for physical impairments, where B5 is the most impaired and B8 is the least impaired. But typically you would only compete against people in your classification, so if we had enough B1s, it would just be a round robin of only B1s, but we don't have enough entries for that to be possible this year, so we're going to have to combine, and that's going to get a little funky, to say the least. But it's a start, and you got to start somewhere, so hopefully next year we'll get more entries, and we'll be able to grow this into a super competitive, super big national championship. Zoom Zoom. Susan Hill, you're correct. CH is Cindy Higgins, and MLR is Mary Lou Richards. Nailed it. Initially, I just had Ontario 2 and Ontario 4, but that doesn't really help out much if you don't know who the players are. So for those of you who know who Mary Lou and Cindy are, then you'll be able to tell left from right. So the marker didn't quite see us. I'm sure that Cindy scored at least 1 there, but I'm going to hop up and see what the scoreboard looks like once she's done.
2.
You were correct. So it is 4-2 for Ontario 4 over Ontario 2, which is pleasing on the eyes. So Cindy has the mat up quite a ways, probably halfway up the rink, and Jack is probably...
And she's heavy on her first one.
halfway to 3/4, would you say that Jack is? Somewhere between middle and 3/4?
Probably 5 feet from the tee.
So with their first bowl being well past, good 6 feet through. Mary Lou is jumping on the chance to capitalize on that and getting a toucher with her first bowl.
Wants to put the pressure on Cindy.
No kidding. After giving up a couple of points to allow Cindy on the board, she's trying to stop any sort of a comeback attempt.
And she's passed with her second bowl.
Based off of those bowls back there coming back to the center line, that looks like a okay draw. But if I'm Mary Lou right now, I'm probably looking to get something past there, try to match those 2 bowls back there. It looks like a bit of a pocket building. That looks well inside to me.
Just a little narrow.
Based on her facial reaction, I can see her laugh, and she knew right away, yeah, no, that's not great. So more short than narrow, but it was a touch narrow. I don't know if Cindy's really planning on changing her weight much, just looking to grab the jack on her way through, but prove me wrong as she's trying to draw,
Short.
crashing into Mary Lou. It's interesting to me that both these women have worn sun protection underneath their shirts and both have white bottoms on, so they're dressed fairly similar here. With the new snazzy Ontario uniforms, I'm a big fan of the new ones this year. They look to be a lot more breathable and a lot more appealing.
Well, they're not unisex. They have women and men sizing this year.
Well, that is interesting. I feel bad for whoever has to take care of all the inventory then, because that means you need twice as much.
Well, we don't have any inventory.
Oh, okay, so it's ordered to fit. Interesting.
Well, supposedly.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't realize the grasshopper was coming through here on the mics. Our streaming booth is right next to a rose garden, and so there are quite a few bugs here that are chirping away, so good ears to be able to hear that it's a grasshopper, and apologies, I don't know where it is to be able to shoo it away.
Looks like Mary Lou has a few here.
Yeah, this could be 3 or 4. Maybe just 2, maybe 3. I would say 3 for sure, and I'd maybe put a tape on that 4th one, but we'll see what they see, as my vision from this angle is terrible. Not surprisingly, Cindy is not willing to concede all 4 without a measure. She's taken out 2.
Well, she didn't take out her tape right away.
Yeah, here we go. So I learned that in Saskatchewan, one of the bowlers here, Brandon Watson, he's a relatively young bowler. I'm not sure if he's still age eligible for the under-25s. He's probably just aged out. Doing his masters right now, and he has invented a device that would allow seniors to measure without having to get down to get on the green to measure.
3 for Mary Lou.
And so he's piloting this new device that one end uses a laser to point to the jack, and the other uses ultrasound, I guess, to be able to tell which part is the biggest part of the bowl. And so it's a device that he's been testing, and so far is accurate within plus minus 3 millimeters. And it would allow seniors with poor mobility, or seniors who just don't want to get down and get back up, to be able to measure between a jack and a bowl. So when you place it between the jack and the bowl, it'll shoot a laser on one end, ultrasonic on the other, and it'll just read out the distance between the two. So you'll get a visual or an audio reading of 13.2 centimeters away, or whatever the case may be. And I thought that's just a really interesting innovation, because how many seniors do you know at the club level that can't really bend down, can't really get back up, don't have the steadiest hands to measure in the first place?
Well, even in tournament play, there's a lot of seniors that don't want to get down.
Yeah, that's
and
true
can't
too.
get down.
Mm-hmm. So I'm curious to see how his master's program finishes, as he's still doing some testing on it, and he's getting close to finishing the product. I think he said that the code for the program itself will just be open source, so anybody could recreate it if they wanted to. It's taken a while to build, so I'm not sure if he would ever get into mass production to sell it to people, but interesting innovation to try and make the game a little more accessible to everyone. Mary Lou's grabbing the jack on her way through here, pushing it back, so for sure, one green bull. Starting to see some of the fans come back here as I'm looking across. I can see Gary Lemieux and Agnes Bajkai from Kitchener-Guelph area coming down, and stands are starting to fill up with volunteers, spectators, people traveling in here just to watch a couple of games.
Well, the weather's nicer today to watch.
It sure is, yeah, there's no rain today. If you're in the area, come on down to the Burlington Lawn Bowling Club at 2275 New Street.
Oh, Mary Lou was a little narrow on that shot.
Off-center jack might have thrown her for a loop. Interesting. Thanks for sharing that, John Seitman, in the chat. John just shared that Brandon, the Saskatchewan lad who's testing new types of measures, also helped Bulls Nova Scotia, Lawn Bowls Nova Scotia, by designing their new logo and uniforms, and they're super happy with how it looks. I didn't know that Brandon did that. That's really cool. I do know he was the driving force behind Regina Lawn Bowling Club's new website. He was also one of two key people in getting such good internet quality when we hosted the national championships in Regina in 2018, which is slowly starting to become sort of an expectation that everywhere we go, we're expecting your club to have high-speed internet, and if you don't, then you better get it, or else you're not likely going to be hosting something. With that off-center jack and a trail from Mary Lou.
I think she's sitting one.
She's sitting one for sure. I don't know about the second, but very loose head once the jack gets off-center here.
They just couldn't find that line.
Mm-hmm.
One.
One it is, so that'll make it 8-2 early on in this feature presentation. Filmshare 1, not sure who you are, but thought the grasshopper sound was a notification noise from broadcaster's cell phone. Fortunately, I am not that busy to be getting my cell phone going off nonstop, as that grasshopper is super loud, super chirpy. So for anybody just tuning in, we have made some changes to the format already after yesterday's rain out. So the men weren't able to finish their game. They were only able to play about an hour 15, something like that, before getting called off for Thunder and Lightning. And the women didn't get to play their last game whatsoever. So we started earlier this morning at 8 instead of 8:30. And we've shortened the time limit from 2.5 hours to 2 hours and 15 minutes for the rest of the week to try and make up some time and get those lost games in. Something I didn't account for, though, was the practice time between matches. I knew I made a mistake with the schedule and didn't allow 15 minutes for trial bowls, but I didn't expect everybody to want to practice between games, which, for whatever reason, we're allowing there to be 10 to 15 minutes of practice time and then 10 to 15 minutes of trial bowls, which kind of defeats the purpose of shortening the game time and starting early. So could be here for a long night tonight, as we still have this game, a men's round after this, and then another women's round after that. So
Gonna be a long day.
gonna be a long day. I'm not sure if we're gonna be streaming that last women's round, as that'll be well into the dusk, evening, dark time. And I know that there are lights here, but I'm not sure how good that's gonna look on the cameras, as our cameras are not $10 million high-tech pieces of equipment to deal with nighttime play.
Nice shot there by Mary Lou.
see if Cindy can counter. Looks to be in the neighborhood. Awfully close. That'll be shot. Sarah saying, please try, I'll buy you a drink in Windsor. So, Sarah, I learned earlier on that you'll be coming down to cheer on Bailey and Jake in the mixed pairs. If you happen to be coming down early for the para, we could maybe sneak you into some para coaching if you're interested. We're going to be running a Just Roll With It program on September 10th, I believe, where we're going to teach coaches how to coach bowlers with various abilities. So that'll be a fun day at the Windsor Club where I'll be learning quite a few things because I wasn't fully involved with that pilot project that the Commonwealth Club in Edmonton ran one and the Nepean Club in Ottawa ran one in 2021 during the pandemic, where a lot of resources were made on how to introduce someone with a disability to lawn bowls. Lots to learn, lots to improve on, that's for sure. Not a terrible shape and head other than one fairly short bowl from Cindy up top. A couple of receivers behind, which both players are just matching bowls, which makes sense, but then those four in the middle is shaping up to be an okay head.
Cindy has one more shot here. We'll see what she can do.
She's holding one. But I hope to catch the finals on the 14th. So that's actually going to be kind of interesting for the para. I'm not sure if we're going to have finals. Based off of 3 games of play, for the 4 with visual impairments, we might just end up doing a double round robin, 2 games a day, and whoever's top of the leaderboards after that. Also told that we're supposed to give out medals for each classification. So whoever signed up in the B1 category will get a gold as winning the B1 category regardless of who they played. So I'm not sure that we're actually going to have finals, but we'll see. Unfortunately, Zoom Film Share 1, I can't make out Anne's score next door as we're sitting behind the scoreboards, so I have absolutely no idea what's what. I can see that the BC scoreboard has what I'm guessing is a 3, and Quebec has what could be a 1, but we see the flip side, so the numbers are like 1 on the front and 2 on the back. So what's facing me is 2-0, which would make me think it's 3-1 for BC in that game, but don't quote me on that. Anyone know the score for Carrie Ip singles? If Carrie is on rink 2, then that would be the score I just told you. Otherwise, I can't see anything else at all. Having a good measure here. So was that one that they took out?
The one that they took out was shot,
Was
so
shot.
now they're measuring for 2, I guess. Between her red front one and the green to the side.
Now, I'm not sure if Mary Lou's an umpire or not. I would suspect she is. But that makes it extra interesting that we could have 2 umpires playing against each other. So would you ever really call an umpire? And I think
1.
that was just 1. One to Cindy to make it 8-3. So I saw that Cindy was using wedges there, and I couldn't quite tell if they were the kind from Dwayne or not. So one of the umpires here all week, Dwayne Hawk, is the head umpire for Bulls Alberta. And he might be familiar to some of you as he created the Lego Lawn Bowls Facebook page or Facebook group, where over the 2-year COVID hiatus, he was able to do a lot of cool things with Lego sets to get people still thinking about bowls, talking about bowls, asking umpire questions and whatnot. But he also has a 3D printer, and so when I showed up here, he gave me a couple of wedges that were 3D printed with the BCB name on it that I thought was really unique, and not sure if we're going to hire him out to make wedges for us now, but very cool idea to, in your free time, just 3D print some wedges. Save yourself from having to buy a pack. Although I guess I shouldn't be promoting that, as that'll be putting you out of business with Drake's Pride wedge packs.
I don't sell a whole lot of wedges.
I remember I bought a few from you back in 17 or 18 for the Empire kits up at the office, back when we had those.
The problem is that our wedge packs come with the jack wedges too, and you're not supposed to use jack wedges, I was told.
Oh, who told you that?
I think it was Jim Roth.
Huh. That's interesting. I didn't know that.
Because he ordered a bunch of wedge packages, but he wanted them without the jack wedges.
Right.
So I took them all apart and took out the jack wedges. Then I had all these jack wedges.
For those of you who don't know what jack wedges are, they're two pieces, sort of semicircles, C-shaped.
Yeah.
One that goes on either side of the jack to hold it in place. But I guess if you're not supposed to use those, then that makes them kind of useless, I guess. I'm not quite sure what else you could do with those. They're made of rubber, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So.
Yeah, he said the problem is that you could inadvertently move the jack when you're putting them around the jack.
That is fair. So we'll see here if Mary Lou can sneak one in, but I think she's coming up short. So, very loose end here from these ladies, these women, I guess. Daryl asking, why haven't we seen a Shuknik sibling mixed pairs team? Good question. I was never a big fan of mixed pairs growing up, I guess, but do they still have districts in Ontario for mixed pairs? You have to play out of a district? So yeah, so that'd be another one. I don't think anybody lives in the Niagara region, and I'm definitely not making the trek up to Chesley.
You see, the mixed pairs now, you can bowl. You have to have one person from the district, but the other person can be out of district. So we could bowl together if you wanted to, but
as most folks know, I've more or less retired from bowls, as I have very little desire or passion to be playing at the national championships after working Monday to Friday 9 to 5 with bowls to then go to an event. Very tough to stay focused, so that's not something I foresee in my immediate future. But we do have other siblings, and you know, we actually have seen a Shuknik sibling mixed pairs team at the provincial level back in, let's see here, 2013 it might have been. Sean and Christine, our other siblings, two of our other siblings, played in Uxbridge at the provincial playdowns for mixed pairs there. They didn't do too well, as that was the first time Sean played in probably a decade. But it does happen once.
I think she's narrow.
Yeah, that looks very narrow to me. Going through the holes all around. So that looks like that'll be...
one for Cindy?
2 for Cindy. I see 2 red ones, so I'm going to go out on a limb and say that's 2. Shaking their heads and agreeing right away, so I'm going to go out on a limb and say it was 2 to make it 8 to 5.
Oh, she's making her comeback.
Indeed. Fun part of singles. The tide turns, and it turns quickly. Are you a fan of singles, or would you rather play the team game?
I don't like singles.
No?
No.
Interesting. Why not?
It's a lot of walking, and I don't get to sit down.
That is fair. So that jack, I believe, went into the ditch as the marker is rolling it back down. Yep.
Mary Lou's going to take the mat back, I think.
I would expect her to bring it right back to the tee. Yep. 1-2 steps forward. And right back down to the tee we go. So that rink that asked for a ground sheet earlier is Jenny Myers of New Brunswick against Pat Kaufman. Does Pat still play out of Hanover?
Yep.
So I'm curious which one of them asked or needed a ground sheet. And there's a great opening bowl from Cindy. After throwing the jack in the ditch, Mary Lou gets to place the mat and choose her length, and Cindy locks one just in front.
Pat sometimes skiffs her bowl or bounces it. But then again, I wouldn't be surprised if she went and asked for a ground sheet if there were, because she's very conscious about messing up somebody else's greens.
Oh, okay. Pat's played at the National Championships a few times before, if I'm not mistaken, whether in singles or other disciplines. Cindy's just on the outside edge of Mary Lou's green bowl back there.
That one's coming up short.
Short and narrow. Not here, not wide enough. We'll see what Cindy does with her third. Could be in the neighborhood if she rolls it out. Need a touch more, not quite sure that that's going to do it. That's a good point, Daryl. Jack control is something I think is underappreciated in singles. Having that first bowl effectiveness is critical. Not sure how many practice jack rolling as a skill. That's for sure something you should be doing if you're playing singles, is going out and practice rolling a bunch of jacks just so you can get really good at it, because placing it where you want is crucial in a game of singles.
It's crucial to get that first bowl on the jack.
Mm-hmm. Kind of makes me extra surprised that Cindy threw it in the ditch. I know that she had the mat up, so that makes it a little bit more difficult, less margin for error, but
She's light here.
she is.
She's coming with weight.
She is, and crashing on her first short bowl there, so that's not likely going to change much. That would be, I'm guessing, 2 to Cindy, based off the fact she was playing weight. Seems you have a popular comment there, Darrell, as Susan and James both chimed in agreeing that jack placement is critical. Being able to roll a jack is a underrated skill that everyone should have. They're scribbling in already, but I don't know if that was 1 or 2. I'm going to be optimistic and say it was 2. Just so we can make it a bit of a closer game.
Mm-hmm.
hop up in a couple ends when the marker's back this way to update the scoreboard to see where we're at. So give me a nudge 2 ends from now. So this is your first day down here to be watching, and we've had you commentating game 2 in a row here now. Anything jumped out at you so far from the couple games you've seen?
No, not really. Everything seems to be well run, and the greens are rolling really well. This green seems a little tricky from the first game that I watched.
I have heard that comment from a lot of people that pace is about 11 seconds, 11 and a half seconds, something like that. But some of them have some finicky lines.
Yeah, I was shocked that the ground sheets weren't out this morning after all the rain you guys apparently got yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
But if the greens aren't soft after all the rain, I mean, and you don't need them, then that's fine.
Now there's an interesting question, James. I'm glad you're asking that. Glad you're tuning in as well. But do you find the singles are using longer distances than pairs and fours? Yes, I absolutely do find that so far. Singles players are tending to vary distances way more than the pairs and fours did. Pairs and fours seem to sort of keep the mat either on the tee or a couple paces from it, but not too many were bringing it up to the hog line. If they did, it was sparse. Whereas in singles, the mat gets moved around a little bit more, so I would say the distances are much more varied. As to whether they're playing longer, I would say it depends on who's counting and who finally gets the jack back in their possession. Susan saying last week every game I played but one were all long jacks. So that's interesting, Susan, because the games that I watched, it seemed like a lot of them were sort of in that middle ground, the 3/4 length, medium length. I wouldn't say long, but I wouldn't say short, just sort of that murky middle from the games that I saw at least. Whereas singles, I find the length is much more varied, more all over the place. Sometimes it's short, sometimes it's long, sometimes it's medium. Bounces around more.
A lot of these players are probably skips and don't throw the jack very often.
That was an unfortunate result from Cindy as she just pumped Mary Lou right onto the jack, basically.
Very much.
Interesting. So Susan saying the green here is longer than at home at 126 feet. So Susan, can you share what club you're from back home and what the distance is in relation to here then? I can say for sure that when you're playing on a longer green than what you're used to, that it messes with your head, even just visually, the optics, it looks so far away. When I first moved to Ottawa and played at, I think it's Elmdale, their greens are 130 feet. And so trying to play all the way back to the tee just felt like a heave and a half, trying to get it back that far. Saint-Lambert, Quebec. It's 100 or 110 feet, so a little bit shorter. I know Chesley is, I think, 109?
108, 109, something like that, yeah.
Somewhere in that ballpark, so that's the stuff I'm comfortable with growing up with, but it makes when you play on those longer greens much more challenging as you're not used to having to add that extra 10, 15 feet all the time. Just something you're not used to practicing, not used to doing. Ooh, Mary Lou sneaking in. Not sure if she sent it enough, but that was a good effort.
That was a good road.
I don't think that's going to do it, so I think that's just one for Mary Lou. Two hog lines look so close together to my eyes because of the distance. That's another thing that can sort of mess with you depending on how long the greens are, where the hog lines are. A benefit, I guess, of going and traveling club to club, playing in different clubs, is that you'll get used to that and it won't be as big of a shocker. But if all the clubs in your area are the same, then that doesn't really help. If you're ever back in southwestern Ontario, I would encourage you to head down to the St. George Lawn Bowling Club, as they're one of my favorites. They have a mascot that they actually have a dragon costume and someone dresses up as the dragon at their tournaments, and it looks really cool. I've never seen a club with a mascot before, but anyway, their greens are so short. I want to say they're something like 80 feet, and they don't actually have ditches. They just have white paint painted for where the ditch would start, and then their ditch board is like, I don't know, solid metal or something like that. So if you throw a drive, it's not going to fall in the ditch, just going to go past the white line and bang into the hard ditch board.
I was there a few years ago.
It is a phenomenal club, and I love going there, but it's also just the most unique thing where there's no ditches, the ditch board's hard, and the greens are so short that it almost doesn't make sense to move the mat at all, because you only move it like 2 feet before you're playing too far up for it to be a legal jack. Fun club though, very accommodating, very social, big fan. The back green at Westmount in Quebec is very short, must be about 85 to 90 feet, but they do have ditches. I have played at Westmount back in 2011. They hosted the Youth Championships, I believe. That was a grand old time. Would love to see Quebec host another event here soon.
Good start here by Mary Lou.
Just hopped up to see what the score was. It is now 10-7 for Mary Lou over Cindy. And yeah, that was a great opening bowl for Mary Lou, and almost a great response from Cindy if she would have grabbed a piece of that green. Film share 1, if you're referencing why the hog lines look so close together, if it's due to the possible wide angle lens on the camera, I'm going to suspect that what Susan's really referencing is that when you play at different greens with different lengths, if you're playing at an 80-foot green versus a 120-foot green, where the hog lines are just naturally going to be different. So they are a lot closer together here than they would be on a shorter green. Here's a great response from Cindy. Bingo bango.
That'll be shot bowl now.
Mary Lou's asking, is it jack high? And Marker's saying yes, but from this angle I can tell you that's actually not correct. That bowl is just in front of the jack by about an inch or so. Hopefully that doesn't change your shot selection at all.
She's just narrow there.
So now with Cindy having one on, one behind, I would imagine she's just looking to draw again. Her bowls look so speedy coming down, but then they really slow down at the end, and that's, you know, a pretty good shot to get 2 out of it.
Yeah.
If I'm Mary Lou, I'm probably throwing some weight at this, even though you only have 1 bowl in the head, but you've got the tee. I can't really see you being too much worse.
If she hits that bowl on the jack, it's going to shoot to hers.
I can't see you picking yourself out to be down 3.
No, she's narrow.
Yeah, she's narrow, so it doesn't matter anyway. I like that kind of weight, though. It's through the head. It's nothing too crazy, but if you get a connection, you might get a good result. Cindy was very quick on the mat. She knew exactly what she wanted to do. Ready here to go.
And she wants to draw in for 3.
And she will probably do just that. That is a beautiful bowl. Well played.
Well done.
3 to
Tie the
Cindy
game.
Higgins. 1, 2, 3. All tied up, 10 apiece. As we are 55 minutes into this game, just approaching the halfway mark.
They're playing quickly.
They are. They are. High scoring affair though when you're getting 2s and 3s. So I've learned that Cindy tends to go down to Florida every winter, or most winters. And I believe she plays at a Canadian Maple Club or something like that.
Yes, she does.
Where she's down there coaching and umpiring and bowling throughout the winter. So I would imagine she's going to be a very tough opponent to beat here, as getting to bowl in the winter means you're rolling twice as many bowls as anybody who's not doing that. And just through sheer volume, that makes it that much more difficult to beat your opponent. Not surprisingly, she's got it right back stretched out to the tee as the marker moves it forward just a touch. Starting off on her forehand, playing on this closest to the clubhouse side. Looks to be in the neighborhood. Doesn't quite want to finish. Like, it's kind of fighting it the whole way down, but that's a very good bowl.
Just slightly short.
She's actually behind when you look at the camera angle.
Oh,
which,
really?
yeah, from this angle it doesn't look it. Looks very tight compared to the line that Cindy just took.
Now that's going to cut over.
And it's also not quite here either. Still need another 4 feet, 5 feet. So the winner of this event will be off to represent Canada at the Champion of Champions outdoor singles event, which is a World Bowls International event. And Cindy's just keeping her bowl on there, hanging down at the end. Champion of Champions takes place in 2023. It has to be a country's winner. You cannot send a second place person. It has to be who's won your country's singles event, which is interesting to me because in a lot of other countries like Australia, New Zealand, there are people who have moved there to bowl full time to become better bowlers, and so when they enter the singles, they can't represent that country then, and that country just doesn't get an entry. So for example, if a Canadian such as Ryan Bester or Kelly McCarran won the Australian singles, then Australia just wouldn't get an entry because you can't send the second place person. It has to be who finished first, and if it's not an Australian who finished first, then you can't send anyone. So I often get asked from people why we have the residency eligibility process. Why do you have to be from Canada to enter these events? That would be one of the reasons. We would very much like to send someone who is here.
And where do they go? Where is that Champion of Champions
I
held?
believe the Champion of Champions is in Australia. I'm not quite sure on whether that's at Broad Beach or what club it's at for 2023. With all the COVID hiatuses, I actually am not positive which club it's at. Maybe it's Helensville. I'm not too sure. But I believe it's in Australia, and now you're making me second guess that. Maybe it's not, but I'm pretty sure it is. Cindy's just coming inside her top front pole there. Not exactly what she wanted. So it's still 1 to
Mary Lou.
Mary Lou at the moment. Oh, thanks for clarifying, John. World Champion of Champions is still in Nene, New Zealand. I knew it had been in New Zealand for a few years before, but I thought it had come back to Australia. So either way, somewhere down there in the southern hemisphere, on the other side of the world from us.
I think she's light.
And James Rimmer says the website says Gold Coast, so that means we're either Gold Coast or New Zealand, I guess, based off of what your two Google searches have given you. Part of me wonders if maybe World Bulls doesn't even know where it's going to be, because after COVID, everything got paused, postponed, so remains to be seen, but there's still well over a year before the event happens anyway. It typically happens in October, sometimes even November. So whoever wins this will have over a year to plan, prepare, fundraise, do whatever they got to do. There's one to MLR. Give her the lead, 11-10. And when they do get to the Champion of Champions event, in the past, it's always been sets play as opposed to 21 shots.
And that jack went into the ditch.
So Cindy threw one into the ditch, now Mary Lou has thrown one into the ditch. I think they're tied now, just tossing it away to each other. Something we often get questioned on is how come we don't play sets here if that's what they're going to play internationally, and the answer to that is our indoor singles are sets, because the winner of the indoor singles goes on to the World Indoor A Million events, and what we would really like to see is one singles event that is sets and one singles event that is 21 shots, so that way when we're looking to scout and possibly select high performance people in the future, at least you'll get the experience of playing to 21 shots, because that's what's done at Commonwealth Games, World Championships, anything not the Champion of Champions or World Indoor Singles. It is good to have John Siteman, the Bulls Almanac, on stream. He is a wealth of knowledge. I think there's more knowledge for Bulls stats and figures in John Siteman's head than in probably anyone else in Canada. By far the most passionate bowler you'll ever meet, and it's not even close. Cindy is just passing through.
Just missed the jack there.
So sitting here, I can feel the heat rising. I feel like the temperature just got like 5 degrees warmer out here with humidity. I am curious what kind of an effect that's having on the women out there, as there's not really much for shade coverage when you're in the middle of the green, right? So the heat could have an impact. Oops, 2019, maybe even 2018. Well, for players to go and attend and learn how to become better bowlers. And I think Mary Lou either helped organize it or ran it or sourced speakers, but whatever happened, there was a section on health and nutrition, and there was, I believe, some talk about the impact that water and being dehydrated has on you when you're bowling. So rule of thumb would be to take a sip of water every end, just so that way you avoid dehydration, because the moment you feel thirsty, it's too late. You're already
dehydrated.
You're already dehydrated. Not surprised that you would know about that, John. So World Bulls may have changed conditions of play for the Champion of Champions to allow for an exception should a non-citizen win the international singles, because Ryan Vester did almost win the Australian singles when they hosted Worlds.
That was a lovely shot by Cindy.
Beautiful bowl there. That's going to make it tough for Mary Lou to get that out. I'm not sure how you're going to be able to push that bowl through.
If she comes to the jack and bumps the jack over to hers, maybe.
Yeah, that might be the best option. Definitely gave it some speed. That is pacey and not coming back. I
No.
don't think.
Too wide with that kind of pace.
Cindy's having a good hustle down here. This is probably, what, 15 inches of wiggle room? Where anything within a 15-inch radius is probably going to get you second shot.
She's in the vicinity.
Close but quick. Just sliding through.
Yeah.
So that'll be just one to Cindy to make it all tied up at 11 again.
Yeah. Thought she was going to come onto that back bowl.
That would have been nice for her, but no such luck. De nada. So 11:11 here at the hour 6 mark. Never would have noticed just how noisy Burlington is until you're sitting here trying to broadcast, and we have garbage truck coming 3 times a week. It sounds like a street cleaner over there that's been here every week. There's also the water refill truck that comes by here every couple days. It is a busy place here at the Burlington Club with non-stop action.
Did you have a parade or a band practice over there on Saturday?
Yeah, there was a band practice. There was also something we learned late at night during one of the days. They had a 10-piece band, I think, put on a performance, some sort of a concert in the park. And so the building behind us is a senior center. There must have been at least 200, maybe 300 people sitting in the park that all brought lawn chairs, all brought their own. And so it looked kind of interesting to leave the parking lot and just see 300 people sitting in lawn chairs as a bunch of people playing saxophones and tubas and trumpets were all sitting on stage playing what sounded sort of like show music, theme music for a sitcom or something. It was interesting to see just because I'd never seen that before. Ambient noise. Well, the grasshopper seems to have disappeared, and in its place we'll have a rowdy truck.
I thought it was a lawnmower.
It very well could be. We had that here too. Mary Lou is just resting on Cindy's bowl. I don't know if that's going to be enough for a shot. I don't think so. Cindy is coming down on the outside edge of Mary Lou's, just squeaking by. That's a interesting thought, James. If we took the commentary off the feed, could maybe get views of lawn bowling ASMR, which for those of you who don't know what that is, it's quite the thing. I won't ruin it for you. You can Google it yourself. ASMR. People who are into noises, audio stimulation. I believe it's still one red bowl there that's counting. Top right. It looks like the closest to me. As Mary Lou's let one
She's
down, that looks
narrow.
very narrow out of the hand. So that's not going to do much of anything. I believe that's one to Cindy, but they're pretty far away. The angles could be off. One more to come here for Cindy.
But she caught that ridge. That's not coming back.
Just on the edge of Mary Lou, but that definitely pushes it back, so now I would say it's almost a definite one to Cindy. Because that bowl was the one I was debating whether it was second shot or not. As they walk down, I'll give a quick thanks to George Cubis and the umpire crew for being here all week. George is here at crack of dawn and last one to leave just about, aside from Charlie Roach and the other volunteers. So thanks to Charlie Lenore and all the other volunteers for being here, getting the greens ready so early in the morning, especially with an early start. And I'm also going to say thanks to Bob Pring as he walks by, as he's done a tremendous job of organizing the markers, the scorers, and everything in between. And even for the majors, he handcrafted wooden rings for the people who finished first, who got gold, which is a very unique prize to be given away, and handcrafted himself, so I have no idea how long that took him, but as expected, he's been on top of things, and he's a great resource, great asset to have here at the Burlington Lawn Bowling Club. For years beyond count, he's been in charge of the Learn to Bowl program, the introductory session for new members too. So most of the new bowlers at Burlington have had to go through Bob to learn the ropes.
That looks narrow too.
Which edge are you getting? The right edge.
Right.
The right edge.
Right one, yeah.
I can hear Bob cheering on the bench next door, and he said it doesn't say on the scorecard what it looked like, so.
Yeah, that's very true.
Just tells the score. It doesn't tell you if it was pretty or not. Don't worry, Mary Lou. We got it on film for you to go back and watch later. So one green one, I would imagine. Make it 12-11. Hotly contested match here. What started off with fast-moving game and lots of points has slowed right down to a battle of ones. Back and forth affair.
Shows the quality of the bowling. So tomorrow, will they be going the other way?
Yes, yeah, they switch direction each day, so tomorrow we'll be playing towards the clubhouse and away from the clubhouse as opposed to parallel with it. And then Thursday, finals day, we'll be back in this direction. John Zeitman saying, I love the philosophy I heard in Australia. The point of the game isn't to get closest to the jack, it's to get closer than your opponent's closest bowl. Doesn't matter if it's pretty, just that it's closer. And there is a closer bowl for Cindy than for Mary Lou right now. This could be in the ballpark, but it still looks quick to me for Mary Lou as she's coming down here. If she finds a friend, that'll help. That took some pace off. Wiggled in around for shot. And Cindy has promoted hers just enough to snag a 1 at the moment.
That looks a little fast to me.
Yeah, her last one was quick and needed a friend, and this one is no different. Also quick and needed a friend, but she's got 3 lovely back bowls there now if she were to switch hands and bring the jack back with her. So I would expect that Cindy's going to try and match that and get something past the jack, but I don't think she gave that nearly enough weight to do that, so this is just a draw, maybe even a guard. Not quite there. Mary Lou is undecided about what to do. Not sure which hand she's going to play here either. I think she is switching onto her forehand. Yeah, looks like it. I would expect she's going to be playing similar weight to try to grab the jack on her way through. But I guess another option would be to draw it off or try to draw a second to cut it down. That looks like the pace of her first couple. in the neighborhood. Has she got bull or jack? Jack.
Jack. No, lovely bull.
Unfortunate result. If she would have got that a little bit further back, she could have been counting 4, but after ricocheting off her top one, she's only lying 1. So that's a...
Well, 1 is better than being down 1.
It is, but it's a great shot where you deserve a much better result than that. But nonetheless, she can't be too upset. As Cindy came down to take a look, Mary Lou's racing down afterwards to get behind to watch this from the opposite end. Opportunity here if Cindy's able to push that green bull through to score a couple herself. But that's going to be tricky. I don't know if the bull will come back enough in time to push the bull through with weight.
I don't think that's coming back enough.
Yeah, that's the thing. Once you add weight, I don't think it's going to come back in time. So that'll be another 1 to Mary Lou. Make it what I suspect is 13-11. I'll hop up here in a minute once the marker's done to see what the actual score is. We are correct. It is 13-11 for Ontario 4 over Ontario 2. I think you were correct about that being a lawnmower over there as it's making its way in this direction. Apologies if that's all you can hear on the audio.
Yeah. Thought it kind of looked like one going back and forth.
There's a pretty good opening bull from Mary Lou. Cindy's following the same track, seeing if she can outdraw her. Cindy's bulls finish hard at the end though, so I don't think that's going to do it. Yeah, there it goes.
It's coming in nicely to the jack.
And
Pushing it off center.
chipping the jack over, so still just 1 green bull there. Lawnmower sounds are all part of the vibe. That ASMR vibe. This looks like a much faster bull from Cindy. Will she find a friend or just sail on through? Sailing on through. Not sure if she was trying to grab the jack or just looking to get a back bull there. Wind is starting to pick up here finally. It's been pretty breezeless all day.
And the sun's going behind some clouds.
Yeah, those clouds don't look great. That is a lot of gray above us. And Mary Lou's drawn in another one here for 2. Putting some pressure on Cindy to get something close. There's not much of a target, just lots of holes. Lots of holes from lots of bulls. Don't think Cindy gave that one enough, so big opportunity here for Mary Lou if she could pop a 3 to stretch that lead out. With her last bull to come, she only needs to put something within 2 feet. 2 feet radius. And she has really delivered that. This looks heavy. That came away too smooth out of the hand, I think. It is possible she was looking for some insurance, a back bull maybe. guess it's never a bad idea to have a back goal, but with only one bull back there, I would have been tempted to draw rather than play position, but I guess shouldn't get greedy with two. Cindy's looking to draw to either cut it down or get second, and she's square onto Mary Lou's. That is probably
rough.
cutting it down to one now, so can't be too upset with that. From this angle, that looks like one green bull and one green bull only.
Cutting it down's always good.
Yeah, absolutely. Can't be upset with that.
Not in a close game, anyway. Don't want to give up any big ends.
As the women walked down there to decipher what's going on, and it was just one to Mary Lou, I'm gonna briefly give a shout out to Nuthers, the award store. So we signed an agreement with Nuthers earlier last year, might have been earlier this year, to be our official award supplier. So they're supplying medals for all of our national championships. And after seeing them at the youth and seeing them at the pairs and fours, they are phenomenal quality. And sort of a fun thing that we've also agreed to is if provinces or clubs want, we can go in and get a group discount where they could make a generic medal, whether it's a lawn bull design on it or whether it's just a generic gold, silver, bronze, whatever it is. But they can actually purchase in bulk, and then whatever club wants to buy some, ship them out across Canada. So that way you get the benefit of a group bulk discount as opposed to just individual pricing for your club. So if you're listening out there and your club has club tournaments or hosts interprovincial or inter-club events and you're looking to get some medals, take a look at Nuthers, the award store. They're based out of London, Ontario, but they do ship all over Canada. And maybe send us an email at office@bullscanada.com, because if we can get enough quantity, this could be a pretty good savings for your club if you already do medals to begin with. And they do a whole lot of things, from, you know, medals, trophies, plaques, pennants, whatever. But with 200 clubs across Canada, if we were to all buy from the same store, getting volume discount is probably a good thing. And the quality is what's blown me away with their medals, so I'd have to imagine that it's well worth your while if you're looking for a high quality product. Is just sailing through again. All three bulls so far are well past the jack.
This one's going to sail on by too.
Everything passed, so I'm wondering who decided to roll the jack there, as it's difficult for both players. Mary Lou. I know that the sun is out, but I can't imagine it sped up the green that much for these players to be so far through the head. This looks like it could be shot, maybe. Pretty far away still, though. Anyone within a 3-foot radius will be shot. And there we go. Cindy has done it. Toucha. Do you have much supply of spray chalk?
I don't have any. Oh, I have a couple that aren't spoken for. Glendacourt has brought me back some from the UK, but Drake's can't get it in right now because they can't ship it by air because it's an aerosol. So
I learned that the hard way when I tried to ship spray chalk through FedEx. They gave me what for, because we used to supply spray chalk for the singles, the host club, but FedEx quickly kiboshed that, as it's compressed gas, and so shipping that is not okay. So I was curious how you and MVP Sports and other suppliers are able to get spray chalk here, because if you can't get it through the air, then by boat, I guess, is really the only way you're getting it, unless you make it here.
Yeah, see, that's before COVID, that's how Drake's shipped everything, was by boat.
Mm-hmm.
And now since COVID, shipping has gone downhill, and they'll only ship when they have a big enough supply of stuff
Mm-hmm.
to be shipped by air. And but they won't ship the spray chalk.
Right.
So maybe the beginning of next year, they said shipping might be back to normal, that they'll have a big enough shipment of stuff that they can ship by boat, that they can get the spray chalk on. Because they were going to ship it at this shipment, but I said, I need the bowls. I'm not waiting another month for the spray chalk. I'm sorry.
Right. So it's 2 for sure to Cindy, but is it more than 2? She's taking a good look. I think just 2.
They didn't get down to measure. I'd say it was just 2.
Speaking of shipping, if you've ever seen the Kmart commercial for shipping, it's absolutely hilarious. Highly recommend you go and watch that on YouTube. So 14-11, Cindy's trying to keep this game within reach.
14-13.
14-13, you are correct, my bad. Just picked up 2. Not willing to just roll over. This looks like a pretty good opening bowl. Can't be too upset with this.
She's in the vicinity.
Don't need to be perfect with your first one, but I've found that if you can get it semi-close, just put pressure on. It helps.
Looks like there's a green finished over there.
Yeah, Rink 3 is finished up between Manitoba and Nova Scotia. That was Betty Van Wellingham and I think Sue Ellen Horn. Sue Ellen Horn's not even here this year, so that's definitely not who that is. So it was either Vicky or Debbie, as it wasn't Anne Marie. Quite the cluster forming up here with the first 3 bowls of this end. Debbie Tower, thank you, John.
Mary Lou's a little tight there.
Just missing that cluster on her way through, but never hurts to have a
A
back,
back bowl. Yep.
It's not really that far back, it's more narrow than anything else. There's a good bowl from Cindy.
Yeah, she's got a couple in there anyway. 3 maybe.
Yeah, possibly. This looks
She's
narrow.
narrow again.
Just chipping the side of Cindy's bowl. Could be 3 reds, I'm not too sure. Mary Lou's going to go down and take a look, which is probably a good idea. Make sure what the count is before you throw weight or play your bull.
She just needs to take a little more grass on that side.
Mm-hmm. Dives across quick on her, so she needs to definitely give it a chance to get out there. But I think she's worried about the point of no return because this green can be kind of finicky. But
Yeah, there is a line there where it won't come back.
Since none of the bulls are directly on it, there's enough wiggle room. She could finish a foot to the side almost and still be second shot, if not the shot. So she doesn't need to be on it. So as long as your draw weight is good, you can hang out there and be okay. That looks like weight to me.
Looks narrow to me.
She's got a red bull into the head to make it for sure 3 now. So that would make it 14-16 for Cindy. Should that be the case? But Marker's already writing it down on the scorecard, so it must be pretty obvious to him.
Yeah.
And Cindy is too, so I guess that's... Hour and 32 minutes into this game. Should be okay to finish in 2:15.
I would think so.
So Cindy needs 5 to win. Mary Lou needs 7. Getting into that home stretch.
This is a bit of a shorter jack.
And Cindy's got the weight, but not the line. That's a couple feet out. Mary Lou's response is pretty good. I'll come just inside that, so that should be...
She had good weight too.
1 shot to Mary Lou at the moment. Cindy is pushing Mary Lou in to make it an obvious one. Mary Lou's made a nice adjustment here to draw a second, well, draw a shot itself, but with her second bull there to have a even better...
Have 2 shots in there.
Better coverage. Pressure's on here now for Cindy. Playing with a little bit of weight, which I kind of like. Either you get it or you slide through and get a back bull, but she's on that high side again. Almost coming across in to get the second shot.
Yeah. She had a nice wick there.
Ended up in a really nice spot.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if Mary Lou's going to worry about getting protection or if she's just going to keep piling them in. I think this is just a draw.
She's got a nice shot coming here, it looked like.
Just dying.
Yeah.
That could be a nuisance bull, though. I'm not sure what Cindy's going to do now with that one sitting out front right in her line.
With that one there, she can't take a run at it.
Guess all you have left is draw. Maybe draw a second shot. Given that she's holding a lead, she probably doesn't mind to give up one. Second shot is still pretty good. She's in the neighborhood here. Look at this. Yep.
Did you push it far enough, though? That's the thing.
I believe so. I think I watched Mary Lou check her bowl 3 times there before she threw it, so good habit to get into to make sure you never roll a wrong bias, but I'm wondering if that got in her head at all, if that's her normal
That's
routine.
why she's short.
Yeah. Also probably scared to give it away. You don't want to mess with a good thing.
Certainly didn't want to bump the jack back.
Cindy is grabbing the measure and is ready to measure. Propping up with a wedge.
Red. So just one.
Just one then. So that should make it 16-15 if we've been keeping an accurate score. This looks like a much shorter jack. Seems to be the new norm here now.
Yeah, but not short enough that they need to call for an umpire.
No, they haven't called for an umpire yet this game, have they?
Nope.
Giving George and Dwayne and Rusty an easy game. Shout out to George Cubis from BC and Rusty Ruggles from Hamilton and Dwayne Hawk from Alberta as our 3 umpires here today. They are in for a long one, as we still have a men's game after this and a women's game after that. Nice opening bowl there from Cindy. As well, if you're in the area, you might want to come down to the Burlington Lawn Bowling Club because we have some clothing for sale from Kukri. So, hats, rain jackets, t-shirts, polos, lots of bowls material that you can purchase if you're in the area.
It was a nice shot by Cindy. We've got one on either side.
Lou's trying to draw around, but she's a little too quick. Pretty good line, I think, so just the weight. Cindy's onto her backhand. She's played a couple of beauties so far. We'll see if she can add to that, but that looks like that's well short. Yikes. Takes away the drive, I suppose. Not that Mary Lou was going to be trying to drive at a pair jack.
I'm surprised she'd go that way.
After her last one came all the way back, she had the right line. It was just the weight, so I'm not sure why she switched hands when she could have played the same bowl again, just taken off 2 feet and been shot. And Cindy has drawn another one, I believe, into the head there, so that could be 3 red, but they're fairly far away. It's hard to tell if that's a full 3 or not. If it is, that would be trouble for Mary Lou, so I'm sure she's going to be inspecting this to see what's the best route in to draw to cut down or take one.
She's out of bowls.
Touche. I thought she had one more the way she was walking down there. She
No.
was walking so quickly ahead of Cindy, I thought she had one more to come.
No, that was her last shot.
So if that's 3 for Cindy, then this game is getting very close to being finished.
Which was why I was surprised she went that route. See, I would have come that side if I was throwing a runner, but she didn't throw a runner. With all of Cindy Bowles on that side, I thought.
Yeah. Marker is checking scores here with Cindy again. This is like the 10th time they've been confirming, so glad to see that they're double checking, triple checking to make sure they get it right. One of the things that Bowls Australia has been toying around with is the concept of keeping score on your phone through an app. And so something they're playing with right now is an app where both skips need to sign in and both skips need to enter the score into the app, and it won't let you move on to the next end until both skips have done so. But it also will flag if one skip tries to enter an incorrect score. So that way you'll never get more than one end ahead, and there'll never be issues with the scorecard of someone entering a wrong score, because the app won't let you advance until they're both the same. Which I thought was a really unique
I thought you weren't supposed to have your
concept.
phone on the green.
That's the thing. So right now we currently have in our conditions of play no cell phones on the green, but that could be changing as the world evolves and we're more climate conscious and eco-friendly. The amount of scorecards we go through in a day, a week, a year.
I know,
at
it's
a
a
Bowls
lot of
Club, it's a
scorecards.
lot of paper.
But, I mean, I did like the fact that there was no cell phones during a game because they could be distracting if somebody's texting or on the phone or
That is
whatever.
true too. So I suspect that the rule might be your phone needs to be on silent when you're doing that, so that way there can be no phones ringing, no vibrations, no anything like that. Is my guess for how you would manage that kind of a process, but I personally am a big fan of it because it saves on paper and it makes sure there's no errors from people entering in the wrong score. But the downside of that is how many of our seniors don't have smartphones to do that, or don't have data, or clubs don't have Wi-Fi for you to use, so that makes it a little more difficult to navigate.
That's very true. A lot of seniors aren't up to date with the cell phones.
But then, also thinking about it, how much easier would that be for end-by-end scoring? If it's in the app, you just make that public and everybody can see what the skips are entering.
But what happens for a skip that doesn't have a cell phone?
Then I think you need to just sort of confirm with the skip who is keeping the cell phone and visually confirm that what they're entering is correct, or delegate to your vice who might have a cell phone. I'm not quite sure, but I think there are ways around it. We do have the correct score, just hopped up to make sure, so it is actually 1915 for Cindy. And she's holding 1. That is a popular request we get, though, is everybody wants to know what's the score, can you tell me the score on Rink 2 or the score of this game? So if we had cell phone scoreboards, everybody could just hop on to whatever game they want and check out the scores themselves. So less volunteers needed, as it's just there for everyone to see. Would also make it very easy for whoever the draw master is, as the scores would just automatically be there. You wouldn't need to have an umpire sign off on it. You wouldn't need to have to wait to get the scorecards into the draw master's office. They would know as soon as the game is done. Cindy's crashing on her own. I don't think that came up enough.
No, just one, the markers say.
The way he was holding his finger up, though, I hope that Mary Lou knows that he was saying it's one for Cindy, not one for Mary Lou right now. Great effort
Just
from
missed that.
Mary Lou, very close. So one more for Cindy, inches her a little bit closer towards the finish line. We'll make it 20 to 15. Just creeping. So Cindy just needs one, so this means Mary Lou needs to score every end the rest of the way, or else Cindy will win. This is a tough place to be in. It means you can't really make any mistakes. Zero room for error. Cindy's opening bowl is going to make this
Challenging.
very challenging for Mary Lou. Wow.
She's put the pressure on early.
Indeed. Mary Lou is narrow. We'll see if her weight holds. Holding it up, but chipping it off to the side, so that at least looks better from the mat. Didn't really change outcome of the head, but now that looks a little bit better when you're standing on the mat looking to roll your bowl. Cindy's second shot here looks to be a similar trajectory to the first, and so it's going to come right in to be second shot as well. Two beautiful bowls there.
She's throwing a lot more weight in this one.
Up the weight, grabbing a red or a hole.
She got the hole.
Wow. I like the pace of that, though, because she kept it on the green, so it's still useful back there.
Yeah. She had a good line, I think, if she would have grabbed the ball or the jack.
There are 24 minutes left, I'm told.
Cindy's got another nice one. Just piling them in there.
I don't like that bowl at all if I were Cindy, because now you're just making a bigger target. And
It
looks
is a bigger target.
Juicier from the mat, even though it's not actually any wider, but it looks more appealing. So if I were Cindy, I probably would have wanted that bowl back by the tee. Leave well enough alone. You only need one, so there's no point building the head bigger.
She's switching hands here.
She is. I'm not sure why. I would have played the exact same bowl, and this time you're going to get something because you're going to make that minor adjustment, I would have assumed, but...
She got bowl or jack.
Got a bowl.
at Dinsday.
She upped the weight that time, I think, based off of where it ended to get a connection and still get that far. So it's still 3 reds, and again, if I'm Cindy, she is switching hands. I'd have to be thinking it back pull at this point. Nope, that is nowhere near heavy enough to be a back pull, so that is almost a guard.
Light, yeah.
And don't know if that finished where she wanted it to, but that should for sure take the forehand away. Not that Mary Lou played that with her last one anyway. So now this is do or die for Mary Lou. Do you grab the jack, draw it cold? Those are really your only 2 options.
I would maybe try and draw. You've got lots of room to draw inside of all 4 of those. You gotta draw inside the shot.
After playing 2 up-weight shots back to back, though, that's probably not the easiest thing in the world to go and
Not
adjust your weight.
No,
And she is throwing weight, and she is back on the forehand, which is extra confusing as...
What the heck? And through the bloody hole.
Wow.
Caught. I thought she was onto the front one.
Yeah, she just got inside it, but that will be game. That'll be 21-15 for Cindy Higgins, Ontario 2. That'll make her 3-0, and Mary Lou will move to 0-3.
Yeah. It was a good game.
It was a good game. Thanks for commentating with me, Katie.
Oh, no problem.
Take a
You
short
have-
break before we're back again for the men's round.
Yeah, you have a good day.
I'm joined here by Lois, and we are watching Ontario 2 versus Quebec 2. So for Quebec, we have David James Smith, and for Ontario 2, we have Mike Wagner. How are you today, Lois?
I'm really good, thank you. This is going to be a really good game. There are 2 really good players. I expect they'll be exchanging shot for shot, end for end. So I think this will be a close one right to the end.
Yeah, that's what I was told. Jake Shuknik was just saying how he wouldn't be surprised if this game was 21-20 at the buzzer.
I can see that. They're both playing very well so far in the tournament, so I
Right.
expect some really good shots here.
Right, as both players have already delivered, or is going to deliver here their second bowl. As David, or DJ as we like to call him here, is up to a fast start here. He did throw the shot, but that was quickly taken away here by Mike from Ontario. So just to Lois's point here, even on the first end here, first couple bowls are already trading back and forth.
I expect to see this the entire game.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll see too many loose
Right.
heads. So, they're both pretty tight bowlers.
Right. As Mike Wagner is throwing the light blue bowls here with the white speckles, and DJ from Quebec is he is wearing the white and blue shirt there, but he is throwing those dark blue bowls.
Yeah, they're pretty distinguishable, so I
Right.
feel confident they'll know who's, as I say, they'll know who's up and down, and David James just asked, but
So David James is 1 up with a measure for 2. As this is coming in quite nicely here, attempting to just draw it in. As it doesn't quite get there, I don't believe.
I don't think so. I think it's still 1 for David James and a measure. Oh, no, sorry. I think I got it wrong.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, I got it completely backwards.
So we got Mike here going, I believe 1, and there will be a measure for 2 here, as yes. Mike's bowl gets taken away rather quickly from DJ here. As we have 1 for Ontario, says DJ here. So as many of you may know here, the singles championship, the ends do not matter in pool play. It's first to 21 or the time limit. And due to pretty severe inclement weather we had yesterday, then our matches got pushed back, so the time limit did get reduced to 2 hours and 15 minutes as opposed to the previous 2.5 hours.
So the match that didn't finish yesterday, the men's match,
Right.
When will they play that?
So they are playing after the women's match. So there'll be a women's match after this one. Oh no, pardon me. The men's match will finish after pool play. So the last day of pool play, they'll play their match. I got my days mixed up.
No problem.
This next match is the match that was supposed to be played by the women yesterday.
Okay.
This match coming up after.
And then for the men, what will their time limit be?
So it'll still be 2 hours and 15 minutes, but the tricky thing with the men here is they're already an hour in to their match. So
Right.
I believe it'll be calculated from the new time slot. So they'll have an hour and 15 minutes, about a bit more, to close out that match. And some matches are only a point away. Finished
Right.
at 2018 before the clouds came rolling around. So
Right. Okay, that makes sense.
yeah, they're trying to slot as many people as we can in one day.
Now, can you explain how the pools work? I know the top two get out of the pools. How do they cross over to play in the quarters?
Now, I believe if it's anything like the pairs and the fours, I believe it's, yeah, like you said, the 1-2, and then I believe it's 3-4, and I'm not sure if 5 goes in. I would, if 5 would go in, then it would be 2 against 3 and 4 against 5 for bronze, or the bronze medal would be 4 and 5, and 3 and 2 would be decide who plays the finalist, their number 1 seed in the pool for the gold medal match. But I'm not entirely sure. That is just on going on a whim here.
Okay, you'll have to explain that again. There's 4 pools.
Right,
And the top 2 get out.
right.
So does pool A play pool B?
Yeah, see, now I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either.
Good-
we've been trying to figure that
Right.
out within the crowd, and
I'd want,
everybody's got an opinion, but nobody
I'd
seems
want
to.
Jake on my right here. He would know the answer rather quickly.
Okay.
He did sort of arrange this event and the tie-breaking formats, or the pool play, the playoff format, and all that. So he would be a very good person to talk to.
Okay. And do tiebreakers, are they played out on the greens or through plus minus or head to head?
They are played on the green
Okay,
as tiebreakers. Yeah,
that's good to know.
yeah. But again, that's all strong hypothesis.
Yes. Yes.
As we have, I believe Mike is. Yeah, Mike did throw for shot here. He's right beside the jack here, within a couple inches, I'm sure. So we'll see if DJ has anything to say about that as he attempts to draw one in here just on the outside of Mike Bowles.
Well, he's close, but not
Just short, eh?
quite. I don't think so.
So Lois, what's your bowls experience? Let's give the viewers a bit of a background here.
Well, I bowl out of the Regina Lawn Bowling Club, and in the winter I bowl out of the Cathedral Short Mat Indoor Club.
Nice, okay.
I've been bowling for about 5 years. I got started because my daughter bowls,
Right.
and I'm actually going to represent Saskatchewan at the indoor singles.
Are you? Nice.
Yeah, I managed to pull that one off. I'm not sure how. So I'll be going with my nephew, Carter Watson. He got the indoor singles as well for the male side, so the two of us will be heading to Vancouver in October.
Right.
A long time ago, I managed to get out of Saskatchewan with my nephew Brandon Watson in the mixed pairs. But other than that, I'm not successful because I'm really not a very good bowler.
Well, I wouldn't put yourself down that much.
Well, not when I see the shots that these guys and gals are making.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah, it is very
I'm
impressive.
amazed at some of the shots they've been making, and I've been here all week and last week, and some of the
Right.
shots that the pairs and the fours teams were making were really incredible. Really, really good talent in Canada, and some really good entertainment for the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, as almost right on cue here, DJ throws an absolutely beauty.
Exactly. This
Of a
is what
bowl.
I'm talking about.
As yeah, it makes the days go by a lot faster with the top of every province here duking it out on the green. Every match has been close, or
Yeah.
Even the players that say they've been blown out said they felt like they were right in it till
Yeah.
the very end. So
Yeah. Yes, sometimes Bulls can be unforgiving. You
Right.
throw an excellent game and you come out not the winner, but that's okay if you, as long as you know you bowled well. It's good takeaways. So it looks like David is sitting 2 here.
yeah, comfortably as well.
So what do we know about the score so far? It is just
Well,
one.
it says 1-0, but I feel like we might have missed an end here
I'm
as
thinking so.
as we
Too
got
much
carried away.
talking.
Yeah, trying to figure out the pool play situation and
Yes.
everything. I'm gonna stand up here once the end is over here to go check the scoreboard to make sure it's accurate. As we see Mike Wagner here throw his bowl for Ontario.
Oh, it looks a bit narrow.
Yeah, and it's going to carry just past the jack here.
Now I don't know if David's sitting 3, but he's definitely got 2.
Yeah, that back bowl is very intriguing there.
It's right behind Jack, so he might have the measure. I just don't know.
It is for sure 2 points for DJ here. See if he can secure for sure 3rd and then a measure for 4th. See if we can manage a perfect end here in front of our eyes, which would be kind of neat.
Have you looked at the scorecards? Have there been many perfect ends?
Not many, no. They have been, though. I commentated on some.
Okay.
But no, not many there because these players are skillful enough
Yeah.
that they are able to minimize that damage.
Yeah,
if
there
they
have
do
been
see.
some 3s,
Yeah, they have been some
but
threes.
I don't know how many 4s there have been. I'm looking at the rink beside, and it looks like Ozzy might pull off a 4 if he draws in.
Oh
I
yeah,
think
hey, speaking of which,
Yeah, he's sitting 3 for sure there.
and speaking of 3 here, that was 3 points to Quebec. So,
Okay, so there we go.
as
We're
I'm just gonna
not
stand up
sure
here.
if that score is right.
Yes, we just missed 1 point here. That second end, I believe that we missed. So it is 3-2 here. That is the correct score for Quebec leading in this one. As we change the camera angle here, and kind of a deep jack here, as it has been consistent here for the couple ends that we've played. It's always interesting to see the strategy behind a short or deep jack, depending on the player's preference or even his opponent's weaknesses.
Yeah, and I think David pulled the mat up a bit. So
Yeah,
it's
so-
deceiving.
Right,
It's probably not quite as long as you would think.
right. Yeah, I didn't even notice how much the mat was brought up there.
It sure changes the line when they bring the mat up.
Yeah,
You get used to a certain line, a
Right.
certain weight, and they bring the mat up and the whole line changes.
Right.
Sometimes. Okay, so it looks like David's still for 1 in that head? Or is that too short in front?
it's yeah. That short bowl might be shot right now. There is Mike's bowl hanging on the back there. That looks equal distance. As maybe DJ's gonna remove all doubt here with this throw. Unfortunately, he does not, as he just sails right past the jack.
The bowlers know who's shot because they're not asking the
Right.
monitor, so they have a good idea, but
As Mike attempts to, I think it's a,
I think that's short too.
yeah, his line was looking pretty good here.
Okay, so David is up, so that dark blue one on the side is actually the short
Right.
one. That's a shot.
As he attempts to either go around or in between the bowls here. It's just not enough on it as it creeps right in front of Mike's bowl there.
Bowlers are often annoyed with themselves because they know it's a missed opportunity of just one more roll and they would have been in.
Right. Yeah, like a lot of sports, it is a game of inches.
It really is. You'll see bowlers who have a clear shot with their last bowl and come up short
Right.
because they just don't want to sail through, and then it's a missed opportunity for that extra point.
As I'm not entirely sure why they're just not putting the measure to this immediately, as they're trying to assess the situation here.
One to Quebec.
One to Quebec. So a rather nice 2 ends here from Quebec, as he was down 2 points to Ontario and came back in a ferocious manner here, being up 2 now with only 2 ends. And that's another thing that I learned rather quickly about this sport is no lead is safe. It
No.
can change very quickly in
It-
only an end.
Yeah, it really can. There were a couple of this morning in the men's matches where the eventual winner was certainly down
Oh, yeah,
considerably
eh?
in the game and came back. So, yeah, you have to play every end as it.
Right. Yeah, was that a 20 to 12 or I heard some chatter, but I forgot the score today.
Well, Manitoba versus Saskatchewan A, that was a 19-10 for
That's what
Manitoba.
it was. Right.
And Saskatchewan A came back and got that one. So
Wow.
that was interesting. And then I know, I think Saskatchewan 3, Carter, his game this morning,
Right.
I think he was up and then he was down and looked bleak, and then somehow he got that one too. So
Right.
yeah, you can't ever count yourself out.
As DJ throws it is a toucher here, as the
Yeah.
marker's putting some chalk on here.
Didn't move the jack, but he definitely kissed it on his way by.
Right.
And I do, it really looks like Ontario's shot.
Yeah, Mike did hold on to shot for sure there, despite the toucher from Quebec.
Oh, this looks like a really good one for 2.
Yeah, it's, Mike is really turning it on here, trying to stop the Quebec momentum here for the last 2 ends. A bit more weight here is put on,
Try and tickle that jack back to
Yeah.
his own bowl, but
as that just needs to go a bit as he
he's got-
kisses it.
he
Nice.
kisses it. Well, that's really good bowl for David.
As that is shot thrown itself, as it is a front resting toucher, as I've been told to call those.
That's right. See if Mike can lodge that. Well, he's trying.
Yeah, these heads are tight, eh?
Yeah.
You did mention that at the start.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. This is not any surprise, really.
Right. Now, Anna Mees, being the CEO of Bowls Canada here, mentioned that you traveled a lot for Bowls, not necessarily playing yourself, but you did travel a lot.
Yes, I'm a travel groupie. I'm a bowls.
Oh,
groupie.
yeah, eh?
Yeah, I like to. If my daughter goes somewhere, and if there's an opportunity for me to go with, I try to go and watch.
Nice.
And it has been good. It's probably not what he wanted to do.
No, I don't believe so either. There he goes.
Yeah.
As he says, Christmas came early for Ontario. As he slight mistake there, as he did end up hitting his own bowl,
Yeah.
throwing the jack back and giving shot to Ontario, all in one shot.
All in one shot. I enjoy watching bowls, and I enjoy watching good bowls especially, and so I have a real love for the sport, and it's great to be able to go and watch good players, their strategy, you can learn from it,
Right.
wonder why didn't they throw the other side, why didn't they do this, I'm trying to learn. That looks like one.
Just the 1A for Ontario?
For Ontario.
Yeah. So what's your latest trip for bowls related?
Well, other than this, we just came back from the Commonwealth Games
Right, in Birmingham, yeah.
Yeah, watched Team Canada bowl. They bowled very well. They weren't successful to get out of their pools.
Right.
But they did bowl well, and I think that they all came home pretty happy with their performance. You always think you could have done better.
Yeah, naturally.
Especially when you don't get out of your pool. But there were some pretty talented bowlers at the Commonwealth Games, as you can well imagine.
Yep.
And I think that it was some tough games, but tough losses. But that's the game, and you go home and you learn from it. What could I have done different?
Yep.
And then hope there's a next time and
Come out stronger the next time.
come out stronger the next time. And then, like everyone, there's been no bowls for a couple of years, so
Right.
travel's been really next to nothing. In the province of Saskatchewan, we put on a modified or a mock provincials last year, which
Okay.
that was good.
Right.
Teams entered, and there was, we did fours, pairs, and singles, so we had some provincial champions last year, but of course they didn't go anywhere or
Right.
do anything with it, but
Near.
at least it kept
Yeah.
them in the competitive spirit,
Yeah.
which I think is very important.
Yeah.
The year before there was pretty much nothing, and so that was really hard on the bowlers that really need that competitive game to sort of keep in their elite
Right.
shape. So last year when we were able to do the modified provincials, I think that really helped. And we in Saskatchewan, we have in Regina, we run a competitive threes league, we call it.
Okay.
And so it's a whole lot of games right at the beginning of the season, just before we play our provincial playdowns.
Right.
And we play triples, so it's sort of in between fours and pairs, just trying to get people ready.
Yep.
And it really helps with, and it's mix and match, so it doesn't necessarily have to be your provincial team.
I see. Okay.
And so we've got men playing women and vice versa, and it's pretty good. So we've been doing that for 4 or 5 years.
Oh, neat. Okay.
Yeah, and people like it.
Good.
And bowlers are always asking, make sure you run that competitive threes at the beginning of the year. So it looks like that's going to be a staple for one of our leagues or tournaments. I don't know what you want to call it.
Right.
The first couple of years, we only did it just to get the bowlers ready for provincials. This last 2 years we did it, and we awarded pins and.
Oh, I see. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Right.
So they actually got something for winning and first and second.
Nice.
So I've been talking too much. What's
No,
happening
not
down-
at all.
What's happening down there?
I believe that was one for Quebec.
Okay, looks like David has a jack.
Yeah, as
so
he
yeah.
was. It was almost a resting on the jack, not quite. So, no, but that's a very neat. I'm happy that pilot program, quote unquote, is going to stay there in Saskatchewan.
Yeah, it seems to be something the players like and ask for. So as
Good.
long as they want it, I think we'll keep doing it.
Right.
And I do think it helps. We play about 6 to 8 games in sort of a 3-week block, so
Okay.
it gets them kind of going pretty quickly. Of course, at that time of the year, the greens are running slower,
Okay.
but it's still good practice to get out with your competitive teammates
Yeah.
and get that chemistry back for the year, and who's playing skip this year, who's slicing,
Right,
those kinds
right.
of things. Do you want to mix things up? So yeah, it works out pretty good.
And it was nice that you were able to organize like team activities last year, because not everyone was able to do that with their club.
That's
So
right. We were
that's,
very, very fortunate in Regina that we had, our rules were such that we were able to organize outdoor provincial playdowns, and not provincial playdowns per se, but the mock provincial
Yeah. Right.
playdowns.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was good. People felt good about that. So
Sweet.
I'm trying to see if I think Ontario's just drawn in here for sure. Oh, no,
he
maybe
went
not.
a bit deep, eh?
Yeah, I think David still got shot.
Yeah, it's even hard to tell from the camera angle here. As David just cuts underneath here, just missing a bit of weight. As I wonder if there's a drastic difference here between the green and this morning and this afternoon, because this morning it was still damp outside. It had rained all night, so it for sure affected the speed of the green, and now we've had sun here for a couple hours.
I suspect this is rolling a bit faster
Yeah,
than this
right.
morning.
The sun evaporating the moisture out of the grass there, making it a bit quicker. But the players on our rink do not seem to be affected by the change at all.
No, they figured it out.
Yeah, right.
Some pretty good heads.
As David here does throw a shot itself.
Now he might have two. He's saying one and a measure. Okay. If I were betting, I'd say that's two.
If you were a betting woman.
Yeah, I would say that's two. Oh, he's just going to take one? Oh, that was a gentleman thing to do.
Right.
Very nice.
Yes, there was some discussion here between the two. I believe he didn't even want to bother to. He could have easily measured that second ball to see if he had the second point, but for the pace of the game and just I think as a nice person that he is, he just took the one that was blatantly obvious and kept on going.
Yeah.
So we change camera angles here.
So from this tournament, we go to mixed pairs, or is it senior triples next?
No, mixed pairs is next in Windsor,
Okay.
followed by the para event.
Oh, right.
Down
Okay.
there as well, and then the September 21st to 25th is our last outdoor event, which is the seniors triples in Victoria. And then at the end of October, the last week of October, we're hosting the indoor championship
Right.
at Vancouver, or in Vancouver, I should say. So coming to tournament season coming to an end as soon as it started here, but
Yeah. So I guess we let off with the youth.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, the youth was our first event, and it was my first event too, coincidentally.
How did you like that?
It was a very nerve-wracking experience
Yeah.
the first day, and especially the first time I streamed.
Right.
But yeah, I settled in quite nicely. A bunch of I call it a big family almost, this bowls community.
Yes, it sure is.
Everyone seems to know each other or know somewhat of each other.
Yeah.
And yeah, I felt very welcomed pretty fast, no matter the amount of people that were there. So it was very easy for me to get acclimatized to this culture and the sport.
It is. It's pretty easy to fit in.
Yeah, very, very easy.
David just threw a great shot. He took the hit the jack, took it back with him. He might be sitting too. I can't tell, but maybe not. I'm sure. No, I don't think so.
That back bowl seems a bit far
Yeah,
compared
it's too
to
far.
Mike's front bowl there. And speaking of which, Mike draws it in. I don't believe that was shot itself as well. No,
No, I don't think so. Close though. That was a good bowl.
As we see David here from Quebec going on his backhand, just making connection with his own bowl there. And
Let's see what he's trying.
oh, that's right on it there.
Yeah, he's got it.
Yeah, as he does push
yep.
it back.
Yeah, I think he's got it.
Yeah, round of applause from his opponent. And he David singles 2 to Mike, so that is 2 for Ontario,
Great shot.
which brings the score to 6-5. Quebec's still in the lead, but with a 1-point lead, you can hardly call that a lead, more of an advantage psychologically anyways.
Yeah. We thought this would be tight.
Yeah, yeah, and it's
Yeah.
it's living true.
I'm looking at Aussie on the second rink.
Yeah.
He's got 3 right on the jack. It's another good end for him. I'm not sure what their score is. I haven't been watching, but I just happened to glance over.
He has been on it, eh? This
Yeah.
this round.
Yeah, he's having a real good tournament. Some real talent here. Real stellar bowlers that are bringing their A game, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we've already seen a couple upsets here, even in the singles.
Yeah.
Which just to show you that the Ontario 1-2-3, that number at the end doesn't.
It doesn't
Doesn't
really
mean much, no.
No, it doesn't. So, how many male Ontario bowlers are here? Is it 6?
6, yeah. They have
Okay.
6 entries.
They have 6
the largest
entries.
provinces.
So Saskatchewan, I know, has 3. What does BC have?
4
4
for the men's.
okay.
Yep.
And Manitoba has 3.
Just 2 for Manitoba.
2 for Manitoba, and Alberta has
3.
3.
Yep.
Right.
And yeah, as you said, Saskatchewan 3 naturally, and
3.
Quebec 2 entries.
And Nova Scotia has 2.
They even have 3, I believe.
They have
Yeah, let
3.
me check. Yeah,
Okay.
they have 3. And New Brunswick just has the 1 here of Brian Myers.
Right. And for the ladies, is it the same? I know Saskatchewan has 3. Does Ontario have 6?
Yeah, yeah, exactly the same.
Okay, exactly the same.
Yeah,
Okay.
New Brunswick 1 as well.
So New Brunswick fielded a men's and women's singles player, but they didn't field a pairs or a fours?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, they weren't present at the pairs and the fours, but
And do we know, are they in the mixed?
I don't know. I would like to hope so anyways,
I hope so too.
as it was nice that they were able to make it out. New Brunswick this is for the singles.
Absolutely. They're bowling well. I'm not sure what their win-loss record is, but I've been watching some of their games and
Right.
they're bowling well.
Nice. As we are almost playing tee to tee here for this end, as this jack is directly on the tee.
And it looks like David's holding one.
Yeah, it might even be a measure there. That back bowl from Mike is it's also close.
Yeah, that might be shot. Oh, now we're going to find out.
As the marker does point to the back bowl of Mike Wagner of Ontario, so he does have shot.
So how do you like being part of the bowls community?
Like I said before, I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah, it doesn't feel like I'm on the job.
And you're fairly new with Bowls Canada.
Yeah, I'm about 3.5 months in now
That's pretty
to
good.
my new position. Yeah, and these events just brought me so much knowledge on the game, and there's so much reading you can do about it, right? Until
yeah.
you go out and actually see it in front. And I was asking a ton of questions because one of the first events I saw was the Forrester Lang pairs, and there was communication between the two. So I was just very curious about the strategy involved and the communication between the two players.
And what's so interesting with this game is everyone's got their own unique way of strategizing.
Yeah.
Some are very aggressive players.
Right.
Some are very conservative players. Some do a little of each.
Right. It is a very, very fascinating sport because if you just look at it on the surface, it can't be that difficult.
Yeah.
You can see the jack in front of you. There's nothing to.
Yeah. Just roll your ball
Right,
there.
just get it there, right?
Yeah. What's your problem?
Yeah, until you realize you got to aim a couple feet to the right and a couple feet to the left.
Yeah. Too much weight, not enough weight.
Yeah.
Now I've dropped a bowl in my line. How do I get around that?
And
Yeah.
the list goes on and on
Yeah.
and on and on. So
Sure does.
as I unfortunately missed again here for
I think
the
that's
score.
Wagner, but I'm not sure if he got
One
one
or
two.
a couple here as the scoreboard is getting changed. As I believe he might have gotten 2, judging by the scorecard here. So I'm going to put a provisional 7-6 lead for Ontario.
Okay, so that changed pretty quick.
And as we mentioned, that no lead is safe. There goes Ontario taking the lead from Quebec.
And I imagine this is going to continue on right until shot 21. You get 2 excellent players like this, and you're not going to be giving up a lot
Right.
of points each end. So Mike Wagner, I remember him from 2018
Yep.
in Regina, and he won the fours, men's fours with his team. And we were talking about it earlier. There was Gary Pickering,
Yeah.
Mike Spedafora, and who was the other one that we?
Oh, that Jake list off there?
Yes,
Oh, I
Jake
forget.
told us.
Right before the stream, too.
Right before the stream. And my apologies to the 4th player. It will come to me. Awesome job in Regina.
And speaking of Mike Wagner here, as he bowls on his forehand side, he is indeed a lefty, so. And he attempts to, I think, just put it back there as a safety bowl to get back position there. Very nice try at that. As we have his opponent here, David James Smith from Quebec, trying the same hand. Actually, is his backhand, as he is a right-handed player.
So that looks like 2 to me for Quebec.
Guys, we'll see if Mike can cut this down here or even grab the shot position.
Oh,
As he
very
does
good.
knock his bowl in, right, which does cut off one of Dave's bowls here, reducing the tally to, I believe, just the 1 for Quebec as of right now. As David threw his last bowl here, asking it to go. And unfortunately for him, it does not go as he wanted. Comes up a bit short, and I believe that it will be just the 1 here for Quebec.
He's having a look.
As it is 1 for sure as he pulls it out.
Maybe. And just 1.
It is just the 1, yeah?
Yeah.
So, just like that, David takes this end and ties it up. As I think it is the key for these players here, since they are both very talented bowlers. You don't want your opponent to start getting on a streak here, because that could get out of hand rather quickly.
It could.
So this back and forth here is good for both players.
Yeah, it definitely is. There's no momentum. They're both just steady.
Right.
I was talking to David just before the game started, and we were reminiscing about the mixed pairs in Quebec.
Right.
And Brandon Watson and I were representing Saskatchewan, and Brandon came down in playoffs with a leg injury that actually put him in the hospital.
Oh, yeah, eh?
But we were playing in the bronze medal game, and he had to be removed from the game, and so David came in and bowled with me. So he says, I don't know if I was a Saskatchewan player or if I was, but he came in and bowled. We didn't get the bronze. It was tough. We had tough opponents.
Right.
But it was nice. He said, my heart belongs to Saskatchewan too, because I bowled for Team Saskatchewan for a few ends. So they've called for a jack measure.
as it does look short. As the maybe on camera the jack doesn't look that short, but the mat was brought up. So they do ask for, are asking, pardon me, for a jack measure from the umpire, as we have Wayne coming up here for the measure.
It's going to be close. A lot of these jack measures, when you're just looking at it with the naked eye, they really can go either way.
Right.
The jack throwing can be such an advantage if you want a certain length and think, well, I can call for that jack measure and hopefully I get the jack back.
Right. We spoke about that with Jake. I asked him if he'd rather have control of jack and mat or if he'd rather throw the last bowl at the end, and he said without a doubt that jack and mat is your greatest advantage because you dictate the entire end.
You really do. I know I've talked to Jordan about, and she said particularly in singles.
Oh yeah, especially?
You want the jack and the mat. Well, what's the verdict? It's good. It's just good.
As head umpire George Cubis here signals that it is 21.01 feet from the mat. And right on cue, another rink needs a jack measure as the two umpires are quickly off rink 1 and off to rink 5, I believe. And I stand corrected, that was rink 6 that needed the jack measure, as Quebec have David James here throws his first bowl. That is a relatively short jack, almost as short as you can get. Mike Wagner here almost throws you an identical bowl, but is on the inside of DJ's bowl, making it shot itself. As these guys are not wasting any time on the mat, stepping on and delivering rather quickly.
I think David is just drawn a shot.
Yeah, beautiful shot.
And here comes Mike, probably an equally good shot.
Yeah, as he came up a bit short here, seemed to fix the weight, and just as Lois mentioned, an equally brilliant shot. Basically going shot for shot here as their first two bowls of each players here are almost identical.
Another good one. They're just, it's just incredible.
Yeah, it is. No matter where the jack is, they seem to be putting it right on it here. This is not coming in as much as you would have liked.
Now, there we go. I was going to say,
yeah, it is tough
somebody
to
please ask for
right?
the count.
And then it's 2 up.
Did he just say 2 up for Quebec?
Quebec, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so 2 up for David James here as he throws his 4th and final bowl here, trying to make it 3 for Quebec.
I think he's done it.
It looks like he has done it, yes. But it still leaves Mike with one last bowl here as he attempts to draw it in here and either steal the end or limit the damage here, as he is looking very nice here with the line. As he taps it, unfortunately taps it.
Great bowl, unfortunate result.
Towards David's bowl, as it does cut down the 2 point that he had to only 1. As it is just the 1 here for Quebec.
So what's the score?
So it is 8-7 for Quebec. As we change camera angles here.
We need to send somebody out to give us some updates on some of the other scores. I'm sure people at home would like to know who's winning what.
Yeah, I'm sure I can use my handy dandy phone here and talk to Jake, see if he has any updates.
Burlington Lawn Bowling Club has done an awesome job last week and this week with the greens, the volunteers, the meals, just outstanding. Outstanding host. They really rose to the challenge. I don't think after the 2-year hiatus there were many bowls clubs that wanted to put themselves out there to
Right.
host this, and so Burlington should be commended first of all for doing it, and then second of all for the job that they've done. It's a beautiful facility, a beautiful clubhouse.
And I'm just looking at the comments here. As Sarah does comment that she hopes that Ozzy did clean those socks, as for the youth championship he did wear high socks, and I can tell you right now, Sarah, they are not the same socks. I repeat, they are not the same socks. So we are in the clear here. It is hot days though, and they are the same socks that he did wear yesterday. So I think he's a bit superstitious here, which is whatever works, right?
Absolutely. That's what you have a can of Febreze for.
Right, exactly. And Claire is asking what color Mike's bowls are. So unfortunately for you, Claire, they're both players are playing with blue bowls here, but Mike has the light blue with white speckle bowl, as David has the dark blue bowls. And another comment here from Daryl Fitzgerald. A question directed to none other than me, Alec. So he asks, how have I enjoyed my first championship season? Boy, has it been busy. But it's been keeping me occupied here. It's been keeping me awake and breaking in this job very nicely. There's a lot of work that goes behind these events, but we could not do it with all the volunteers of the host clubs, and especially the players here that can take time off from work and travel all these distances to come compete. So I'm very grateful that it's one community working for the same goal, and I'm grateful I can be a part of that.
What's your background?
So I'm from a small town, St. Isidore, which is in between Ottawa and Montreal in Ontario.
Okay.
I graduated from sport management at Brock University in St. Catharines,
Okay.
near Niagara Falls, and I was a tennis player for Brock. So I played, I played tennis my entire life naturally, but I played 4 years for Brock. And then, I discovered this sport and this job, and the rest is history, as they say.
There you go.
So yeah. It's a stark contrast from the sport I'm used to, especially the team events, as tennis is a very individual sport there. You keep it yourself. So I do relate a bit more with these singles championships and how these players are handling both the pressure and their self-talk. Because we do know that self-talk is not always positive in sports.
Yeah.
So learning to manage that is a big key to success, no matter the sport you're playing. So I can greatly appreciate that part of the game.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's easy to sure get down on yourself when you throw a couple of really what you consider to be bad bowls.
Right.
I'm wondering what you think, how did I do that? Why did I do that?
And a bad bowl is always worse in the eyes of the beholder.
Yes.
It might not
Yes.
always be that bad, but you are your worst critic.
You are your worst critic. And it's really, really funny too, because the player will evaluate their play during a game and how they see themselves and how you may see the game as a spectator can be very, very different. I remember saying to somebody, boy, you bowled outstanding. I'm so surprised you didn't get that game. And they replied with, I bowled like crap.
Right, yeah.
I thought, okay, well, you were feeling it. I was watching it, but I thought, so it's really, it really is a very individual feeling.
Right.
Here comes Mike now. This is an excellent bowl to start. He got the jack and he went longer, and let's see if.
And Lois, I do believe we got carried away again in our conversations, as I think I did miss a couple points here.
Yeah,
Because I might have to stand up
yeah,
again.
You'll have to go get it again. Sorry, we just know Ontario got at least one. That's two great bowls for Mike.
As it is 9-8.
9-8. What a score. David's just dropping his a bit short.
Yeah, he is, which is surprising because we haven't seen too many short bowls here in this match.
Just have to tell himself to reach the jack.
Right. And Mike is taking full advantage here.
Yeah, he's got 3 right there. I think this looks better from David.
Yeah, as he needs just one down there so he
Yeah.
can try to stop the bleeding here.
Something in the head, they say.
Yeah, yeah.
Still a little short, but a much better bowl.
And I believe that is still 3 going for Mike here. As he throws his 4th here. Still electing to go on his backhand side here.
There he goes. Can't get much better than
No,
that.
as this, he is sitting on a perfect end here, Mike is. See if David has anything to say about that, as I'm sure he will.
Yeah, he knows it's not going to get there.
Unfortunately, David is going to cut up short here, missing his bowl, as I believe that is a perfect end on live TV for
Yep.
Mike.
It's funny, you can tell right out of your hand that's just not going to do
Yeah.
it. So that is 4.
That is 4 for Ontario. As that now brings him with 3-point lead here, just like that in one end.
That's the result of a jack length change.
Right. Yeah, because last time they were on that side, it was a short jack
Yeah.
coming in. As we change the camera angle here for you folks.
Another longer jack.
Yeah,
Might be right on the tee, close to it.
yes, I believe it is getting placed on the tee. As it did work very well last time it was a long jack. Mike just doing or just completing a perfect end here, so why not stick to what's working? And maybe he did notice that David was struggling a bit here with the long jack coming up a bit short the last end, so we'll see what adjustments Quebec will make here.
They always talk about first bowl effectiveness and how important it is to get that first bowl really close to the jack to put the pressure on the other player or team right off the bat.
Right.
I know a lot of players who will practice that first bowl effectiveness, draw a jack, or throw a jack, draw a bowl, throw a jack, draw a bowl, and it really pays off.
And it's also, it has to be some sort of psychological warfare as well. If you always throw at a perfect first bowl,
Exactly.
your opponent can get demoralized pretty quickly.
Yeah. Now, does that look like Mike's shot again? I think so.
Well, yeah, it does look maybe by an inch or 2. Both bowlers here coming up a bit short of the target.
The jack might be a little longer than last end, but here we go.
This is tracking in very nicely, as that is for sure now shot.
At the Commonwealth Games, the markers have gadgets. I don't know what they're called. And as bowls roll in, they flip up how many shots each player's holding, or who's holding how many shots. And so there's no question, you know, 3 red or 2 blue, and then you know exactly.
Right.
And it's helpful. And it speeds up the game because they're not asking whose shot.
Right,
They're
right.
not looking around. The markers have got it.
Yeah, exactly. As another clap of the hands for his opponent and a high five, which is very strange to see here from my perspective, from a newcomer to the sport, high-fiving your opponent for a nice shot.
That lawn bowlers are
Right.
polite. You
Yeah,
high
exactly.
five and you clap for good shots.
Yeah, speaks
Always.
to the volume of the game here.
Have such respect for each other.
Right, as it is a very tough sport, as I learned rather quickly here playing myself a bit.
Okay, David's going to try and sneak in between those two bowls.
As he wants it to draw in a bit, as he unfortunately...
Oh, he just about had it. But
And now maybe one for sure here for Mike as we await.
paddles, that's what they're called. They hold paddles.
Paddles.
The markers
Oh,
do.
right.
Yeah.
So I believe it was just the one here for
Just one.
Mike Wagner. So bringing it up to 13-9 here for Ontario as we switch the camera angle. And as we're changing ends here, Daryl Fitzgerald, as Lois you most likely know, just commented, "Everyone should be listening to you, Lois. Well said." And I'm sure he is talking about your comment about the first bowl percentage there. That conversation, I'm sure that's what he's referring to.
It's a drill. Throw a jack at any length, and then one bowl. Throw a jack at any length.
Right,
So you
right.
can get used to adapting to different lengths and making sure your bowl is right there. It's really off-putting to your opponent because right off the bat they know they're down
Right.
and down big time because they've got to. How do I work with this?
Yeah.
So it's important, and you'll find most successful bowlers have good first bowl effectiveness.
And just to speak on the Com Games as well here, Claire Day commented, "Lois, they have professional markers at the Com Games. There are all umpires."
Oh, that is true.
So if just to clarify our conversation that we had about markers and those paddles.
They are. She's correct. They're all umpires with the paddles, and the umpires with the keen eye, so they know exactly
Right.
who's shot and who's.
Yeah, that would
Yeah.
that would affect the time there. As I think we see David is a bit struggling here these last couple ends, trying to find the head, as he got off to a very hot start, but it's starting to spread out a bit here. Now I did see him grabbing his back and hip area. I wonder if he's battling an injury as Mike comes in here, nearly missing in the jack.
But good position bowl there.
Very good position, yes. As here comes.
Here comes David. That's not a
which-
bad bowl.
Not at
but
all,
I
no.
don't think he's got shot.
No, when you're playing someone as good as Mike Wagner, you're going to have to be pretty close here to beat him.
Yeah.
As both players here are following Mike's bowl to the head. As it's creeping up, this looks to be absolutely perfect here, right on the dot. Maybe a couple inches. Jack high. As
We haven't seen a drive yet from either player.
Right?
I don't know if Mike is a drive bowler. I know David is. He will drive if he has to. But he doesn't have anything behind, so he'd have
Right.
to take the jack clear back, and I think that back bowl of Mike's might prevent that.
It would be important to cut down these 3 points here, as with 3 points going to Mike, presumably they'll make it a 69 game. So David wants to cut those points down as much as he can here to keep it close.
He is throwing
As
heavy.
he is
but
throwing very heavy. Interesting strategy.
got one
As
out.
he did knock one out. I believe that is still going to be 2 for Ontario.
He was hoping to knock 2 out. Two.
As it is 2, yes, for Ontario. Bringing the score up to 59 here for Michael Wagner of Ontario.
15-9. It's not over, that's for sure.
It's not. It's far from over even. As we are approaching the hour mark, we have been playing for 50 odd minutes.
Seems like I've been talking for a lot longer than 50 odd minutes.
This game has been going fast though.
It has been. It has been.
Well, the perfect end from Mike did help advancing the score here. As yeah, that's the beauty with streaming. Sometimes when you're commentating, having conversations, the time flies, and sometimes it feels like you've given your whole life story and it's been 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's right.
So
Exactly.
right.
So Mike comes up a bit short there. The real opportunity for David to start the end with a good first bowl.
As he does have a good line to get around here, just needs a bit more weight to get down there.
Wonder if the greens have changed again.
Yeah, maybe, eh? Yeah, because the spread is a lot
Yeah.
wider than it was in the start here.
Oh, very good. Very good bowl there. I was thinking over the past few ends, I don't think they've had many touchers.
No, the one. I remember the one very clearly. But yeah, it's a very good point. As David throws his hands up, not happy with that last bowl.
Frustrating when if you can't find your line, you're struggling,
Right.
and you just don't know what to say to yourself to get back on track. Is it 2?
That's what I'm trying to see here on our monitor. I believe Mike does have the one for sure. It might be a measure for that second point.
Okay.
As, boy, David keeps cutting underneath the jack here.
He's drawing a bit narrow. I
Yeah.
would say his line has changed.
Right. Maybe it's, he's trying a couple different things here to get out of this slump.
Another good bowl from Mike. David's asking, what's the story? We'll find out. Is one in a measure? Oh, they're all
Oh,
close.
as they're all-
Oh, isn't that interesting?
As David wisely starts his walk towards the head there, as the marker could not identify who was shot.
I've often wondered the rule about walking to the head carrying your bowl.
Is there a rule that states that you can't, or?
I don't think there is a rule, but I've often wondered if there's. Has he got his bowl in his
Yeah,
hand?
he does.
He does, yeah.
With his towel.
With his towel. I've often wondered if there should be a rule, if it accidentally slipped out of your hand, and
Yeah, that's a
what
very
would
good
happen
point.
to the head.
Daryl, if you're still watching the stream, if you could comment if there is a rule around that, or
Yeah.
if it ever existed, that would be great to get some inside information.
Or what happens if that bowl slips out of your hand and affects the head?
Right.
Oh, that looks like a good bowl. They're clapping for it, so that could be shot. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, as he did take it out rather
Yeah.
quickly there.
Wondering if it's 2. David will be happy to get some points here.
As they are, I believe, measuring it here for the second point.
Oh, they've only taken out 1?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought there was 2 on the side were David's, but one of them is going to be measured, or where's the bowl they took out?
It's on our far right here,
Gotcha.
near
Okay.
where David is.
Okay.
And that would be for the second point there
Okay.
that they are measuring.
Okay.
As that did look like
That looks like 2.
2, yes, but hard to tell here, so I'm going to try to get the marker's attention.
David's going short, short, short. So we'll see if they can adjust from a longer jack to a. That's fairly short, really.
Right.
He's pulled the mat up and.
So I am going to put 2 here provisionally for Quebec for the last end, and I will confirm that after this end is finished. As I think this is a wise decision here, putting up a short jack, as he did come up short on those longer ones.
That's right. Speaking of tennis, we've got a tennis court behind us so we can hear the
Yeah.
the coaching and the players and the balls and the rackets. So there we go. We've got a toucher from Mike. Mike's holding 1.
So to answer John Johnson's question here of how many bowlers totals are in singles, so we have, I believe, a pool of 48 players, and that's divided for women and men. So I believe we have 24 men and 24 women in total.
In 4 pools of each.
Right,
And
correct.
and each
On
pool
each,
has
yes.
6 players. So that I think the math adds up.
As we have 2 people now here commenting about our question about the bowler rule here of bringing it to the head. So Dorothy Verge, or Verge, you are definitely allowed to travel to the head, bowl in hand, as we saw here, as it was confirmed by David Johnson. And Daryl, no rule against walking up with your bowl, but obviously if things happen like dropping that bowl in the head, then a rule would apply about disturbing the head.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So if you do bring it, you better hold it tight, because it can create a mess. And as we have a bit more viewers here than what we started with here, I'm just going to reiterate that we are watching Ontario versus Quebec. So this is Ontario 2, so Mike Wagner playing against Quebec number 2, which would be David James Smith. And as Lois and I have talked about, those numbers beside the provinces mean very little here, as all players are number 1s essentially for their provinces.
They really are. Okay, so Mike looks like
He's coming in. Oh, just nearly missing here, the jack.
That's a very good head, though. It looks like, I would say Mike has 2.
Yeah, as Mike picks it up rather quickly here. As I will put 2 and confirm the score once again.
If he does have 2 and the score is indeed 17, the game is within reach now. It's not saying that David's out of it by any stretch of the imagination, but at 17.
And it was just the 1
Oh,
for
just
Mike.
the 1,
So
so we're at
16-11 for Ontario. As also most of the viewers may know, but just to make sure that it is clear, we are playing up to 21 points. So the ends do not matter here. So race to 21, or naturally the time limit, which is 2 hours and 15 minutes.
The indoor singles, they play to sets. And I'm wondering, what is the preference for most bowlers? Would they rather play to 21 or would they rather play 2 sets?
Right.
personally, I'd rather play to 21. I think sets can be a really hard game
Right.
to play. If you get down quickly, it can be a real struggle to try and get back. The set's over before you know it. Especially if you're a what we call a late starter. There's some people, some bowlers that really don't do well in the first 2 or 3 ends. It
Right.
takes them,
Right.
and then they really catch on and get their mojo going, and before you know it, they've caught up and surpassed. But in sets, it's pretty hard to be a late starter. You have to be pretty much right on your game. But if you're a fast starter and you start pretty quickly
Right.
with some real good ends, you might be one of the ones that likes the sets play.
Right. Yeah. That's a very good point. Thank you, John, for the nice words. We are trying to commentate the best we can here, keep all of you entertained. But the entertainment is being done by the players here, not us, as
Absolutely.
David throws a very nice back bowl here.
Does anybody know what bowls they're bowling with? David's looks like an arrow, but I can't confirm that, and I'm just trying to figure out by looking at them if we can.
Right, when they throw the jack towards us here, we'll be maybe able to make it out. Naturally, I think you'll be a better candidate. I'm not too familiar with the different bowls or how they look.
Someone who's watching might automatically know what Mike or David James play with.
Right.
So David's had a look. What are we saying? Is Mike up 1 in the head, or?
As Daryl does confirm that Mike has aces.
Mike has aces, okay.
So it'll just be David's bowl here we'll have to look for. Speaking of David here, he kind of ruffles the feathers here of the head. I believe in his favor, if I'm not mistaken.
Looks like he's holding one. Yep, he's got the mat.
As was that one, or was that potentially multiple scores here? As it is in singles, it's not easy as commentators here try to decipher the conversations going on here. If your instinct was to 1, Lois, we'll put it to 1 for
I think
Quebec for now.
It really looked like 1.
Right.
Now David's pulled the mat way up. Probably wants that jack on the tee.
And right on cue, he does, I believe, put it on the tee. As part of me here, we just changed the camera angle as we see, just in time to see David's first bowl here as it comes up just a bit short.
Little narrow. Yeah, I can't see what he's bowling with.
As Mike puts it within at least a foot here. Or within a foot, I should say.
Another good bowl. And the standings can change so quickly just with one game. So I know they are all looking for that win, at least to, does the plus minus, are they worried about the plus minus in this format? Or you said tiebreakers are played on the greens, so the plus minus isn't going to affect The players?
It's a tentative no, just
Okay.
because of the tiebreaker being played out.
Okay.
But the scores have been really important. People have been correcting scorecards, and they've been edited very quickly on Event Connect as well. So I might be wrong in saying that tiebreakers might be played off in the score. So those points would be very important then.
There's another good bowl. I think David's holding 1. Could be wrong. We've got a lot of bushes and apparatus in front of us. But
Right.
I think David's holding 1.
Yeah, I think you are right. And John, I was told by the greenkeeper that this morning the greens were running about 11-12 seconds rather than 12-13. Now that number might have changed, as I was just told in the morning. And Ernie has a very good point here about the direction that they're playing, because you are right on that one side there, coming up a bit shorter.
Oh, great bowls. Oh, David's got 1. So he's getting closer and his
Yeah.
way up.
As
And he's pulling the mat up again.
I don't blame him, as that strategy has been working very well for him. As Mike did pull away rather quickly here, and as David slowed down his momentum, as he's slowly starting to creep back here. As it is provisionally 13-16, as we've been trying to keep score as best we can here.
I think we're right.
I do believe we are correct as well. And we change camera angles here, as we see David's first bowl come in within 3 feet here.
Yeah, that looks really good. Got a lot of coaches and managers for the players. Help them out if they need a little bit of strategy or
Right. Or just someone to talk to sometimes.
Somebody
That's
to
all.
talk
That's
to.
all you need.
somebody to say, you got this,
Right, exactly.
bowl better. No, I don't think a coach would ever say that.
I think the player would tell their self that
Yeah.
enough. It's
Okay,
coming
what
up
does it look like?
a bit short here. I believe David does have shot as of right now on that back
Has he got 2?
left bowl. I'm not sure if that second bowl is his or not, right beside his left one, as that nearly misses Mike's front bowl there. And since Mike is holding his third bowl, then that has to be 2 bowls there for David, as he is up 2-0 now.
Yeah. That's sailed by a little bit.
Yeah, as I believe it's still 2 points for David, as
It looks like it. It looks like
if
2 for
if
David.
this end goes his way and it is a multiple point end, then we have ourselves a game, ladies and gentlemen.
Bet.
As David is now going.
Did he switch hands?
Yeah, he did. As I was just going to say, he goes dead shide here on his forehand. And I believe he just went past. As Mike attempts to draw it in here ever so slightly, as it is creeping towards the jack, but I don't believe it's enough to take shot.
1. going to kick another or are they going to measure?
Now, with the time limit being 2 hours and 15 minutes, I would like to think that you would want to measure as fast as you can, as opposed to try and see which one is closest with your fingers. But again, it might just be a comfort thing for these players.
We've had some games that haven't been finished, that they ran out of time, but most finish well within their 2 hours and 15-minute
Right.
limit. Close. Just the one for David.
Just the one for David, making it a 2-point game now, as it is 14-16, still in favor of Ontario.
And
As-
David pulls the mat again.
Right, as the strategy is blatantly obvious now, as he does like that far jack, but brings up the mat to its limit, as he might overthrow this jack.
Did it stay on or is it? No. Oh, it did.
It did stay on.
It looked like it was in the ditch.
Yeah, it
Must
did
have
look.
kissed the lip.
As David gets his wish here and gets his jack on the tee. As this just sails back, which is a good position to be in your first bowl, just behind the jack there.
There we go.
As we have Mike Wagner here coming in within 4, maybe 3 feet. I'm not sure if it's shot or not. What do you think, Lois?
I think not.
It's still to David
I
in the back there,
I
yeah.
give it to David at this
Yeah.
point.
And if he just removed all doubt,
Yeah.
as he puts one very close to Jack here. Oh,
Oh, there we go. So Mike's got a toucher there.
Right.
And with them playing so close to the ditch, you never know.
as this has a bit of pace here, as he takes off, or out, I should say, Mike's bowl in the process.
And now we're back to guessing.
And would you happen to know if that bowl that went in the ditch was the toucher from Mike?
It's not been removed, has it? They're talking about it, but I didn't hear what they said.
Right, as we had a dog barking right in the middle of the conversation, unfortunately for us.
There is a bowl on the bank, so I assume that wasn't the toucher that went in the ditch. Oh, no, I'm mistaken.
As there's still some discussion here whether that toucher was dealt with properly by the scorer. As we have David, pardon me, coming up to assess the situation here and give a slight measure here to try to figure out who shot.
try and draw it in.
This seems to be a bit too heavy here, as it does knock over Mike's bowl. This is could be a very, very important end here, as David might even be tying this game here if Mike doesn't throw the perfect bowl.
It looks short.
It does, as he underthrew it a bit. And confirmed by Mike here, I believe that is a deuce for Quebec.
They're still looking.
So that's the 1-2 for sure. Oh, they're looking for potential a third. As it is just the 2 here for Quebec, as this brings the tally up to 16-16 here at tie game. After an hour and 20 minutes of play.
Got the map brought up again.
As that comes to no surprise, as he's done this for about 3 ends in a row now.
It's worked. He's got
It's
back
worked.
in the game, so
Yeah, exactly.
don't change a strategy that's working.
As fairly confident with his jack placement here. Turns around rather quickly. The jack gets reset, I believe, on the tee once again here.
Looks like it.
As David takes little to no time to get set here and will deliver his bowl. As we will switch camera angles.
It's a nice start by David. Let's see what Mike does.
As they're both electing to go on the same side here. And almost delivering picturesque
Yeah,
bowls here
pretty
from
much
one another.
identical.
As I believe Mike did grab the shot there on the inside.
Body language, you know right away that wasn't the
Yeah,
ball I wanted
yeah.
to throw.
Turned around rather quickly,
Yeah.
grabbed his bowl and reset for the next one. As Mike here, very nice and delicate delivery. As that delicate delivery maybe caused a bit of a shorter bowl here. As let's see if David can redeem himself after the last bowl that he was quite upset at himself with. And this seems much better here, as this is trailing almost directly at the jack. As it does touch it and knock it over. Now I don't know if that knocked it closer to Mike's or his own.
From here it looks like a measure, but I'm
Right.
sure. Oh, it might be Mike's.
Yeah, it seems to be right next to Mike's there.
Shaping up to be an interesting end.
Yeah. As the spread has begun to get tighter and tighter here as we're nearing the end. As he nearly misses out Mike's bowl here and makes it all the way up to the ditch, as Mike is setting up here for his last bowl. As
Mike's sitting 2.
he might be sitting 2, yeah. So this is for a possible third or a definite 2 here. As he was that, I think that secured the second
Yeah.
point, as the he made his bowl fall towards the jack, as indeed David hands over the jack to Ontario, and that is 2 points for Ontario, making it an 18-16 game. Now, if Mike has a perfect end as he did on that side earlier on today, then that would be the match. Or actually, that would be more than the match needed for the match.
That's right.
So,
It'll be interesting to see if Mike goes long.
right. As you might have heard there, that was Greg Wilson from Alberta screaming at his bowl.
2.
That was 2, yep, good. Good to get that confirmation.
Went definitely longer.
Yeah, as the mat is not brought up nearly as far.
So after playing several ends short, it'll be interesting to see if they can adjust to the longer jack length.
Right. I would assume for Mike it'd be, this is his comfort zone here, so
Right.
it should be okay for him. Let's see how David handles it. And as I say that, he comes up a bit short here. As we almost expected to see here with that mat being brought back now.
Right. A little bit of an adjustment to make.
As David is asking it to curl in here a bit, but staying wide, but
Not bad bowls
Not
considering
bad at
this is
all.
a different jack length.
exactly.
It's nice to have so many spectators coming to the matches to cheer on and
Yeah.
watch all the games.
That is a toucher for Mike here as he looks to put the final nail in the coffin, as the expression goes. But keep in mind, David still has 3 bowls left, making it far from over.
Well, it looks pretty good.
Oh, as I forgot to... I am sorry for the viewers at home. I forgot to change the camera angle here. As now you get a better look, I'm sure, of the head. Although far away here, so we have David here cutting down Mike's 2 to, well, none, quite frankly, as he throws it directly on the jack. As Mike nearly misses here the jack.
David's looking to pick up 2 and tie it up again. Going to come up a bit short.
Yeah, he
But he
is.
still has a bowl. Oh, yeah, he's
That carried a bit more, though, at the end.
It carried.
Tail end
I
there.
was surprised. It looked like it had stopped. Mike's trying. I think that's a bit narrow.
Oof.
Oh, he's
Maybe try bumping out David's bowl, but unfortunately made connection with his own.
David's got a chance now to tie it up.
And let's see what David plans to do here. He is going on his forehand here. As the, unfortunately, does not draw in as I think he would have liked to. As I believe that is just the one here for Quebec. As it brings it to a 17-18 game. And Lois, about an hour and a half ago, you said this will go down to the wire. This will be a very close match, and it has proven such.
And we can expect David to bring up the mat, and that's exactly what he's doing, although not as far as he... Oh, maybe he is.
Yeah, yeah.
It looked like he was going to put it down a little closer, but
Right.
no, he's moved it up.
As I will this time change the camera angle rather quickly so I do not forget for you viewers at home.
(18-17), what a game.
As again, the mat is brought forth and the jack is on the tee, which is no surprise here from Quebec, as David has elected to do that here for numerous ends in a row.
Pretty good start. He was a little narrow, but
Yeah.
pretty good start there. So the parables, can you tell me how many teams we've got? What's the discipline? Where's that being played?
I do believe it's in Windsor,
Okay,
and I'm not too familiar with it, but there is, I think, 7 divisions, or maybe 6, and that is B1, B2, B3, B4,
right.
and so on and so forth. And unfortunately, we do not have that many registered athletes. I think we have about 6 or 7 here for the entire event, and they're all playing in different divisions.
Okay,
So making it for quite small pools here
right.
for the different divisions. But it is the first time we are hosting, so it was relatively difficult to get an understanding of what was needed and the proper paperwork that was needed. So the process was long to register for this event, which is something we're trying to fix for the future to make it easier for these athletes to sign up. And we're wondering if that had anything to do with the registration numbers being low, or maybe we did a poor job of advertising it as well.
Okay.
But since it's the first event here, we're not too upset with it. Still still enough registrants to have the event and go ahead with the planned schedule, and the umpires are going to be there, and it's going to be an absolutely beautiful event, I'm sure, especially in Windsor.
And will any of that event be televised similar to this?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
because the equipment will be there for the mixed pairs, I'm
Right.
sure. So it will be televised, which will hopefully bring more eyes to para events and bring up those registration numbers. So yeah, we are very excited, as this is first time here for BCB as a para event.
The para event at the Commonwealth Games was very popular.
Is it?
Yeah.
Good.
It was outstanding bowling and really interesting. So it's nice if it will catch on
Right.
in Canada. And I'm not sure if Canada sent any para bowlers to the Com Games. I can't say. I'm sure they did. But there's definitely a niche for it.
Yeah, right. Which I am sure there's a niche in Canada as well.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of exposing those opportunities. As now we return to the game here, as score is marking down the score. So it's not game yet for sure, as we did not see any handshakes.
So
David is bringing the math way forward, so he definitely won that last end. By how much, I am not entirely sure. For now, I will put it as a provisional 1, as it has been very tight here so far, and I will confirm the score after this end, after the score has put in the updated numbers in. This is now a bit short of the tee here for David.
So in the para bowls, is it mixed, or is there any mixed events in the para bowls, or is it all same-sex events?
I don't know, but I will go find out as I'm looking up here the schedule on bowlscanada.com.
Oh, there's a great start for David. And a nice reply, a little short. Still a good bowl.
So it is pairs and singles, but I believe it is no mix events.
Okay.
So we are starting the 10th of September with the which is the formation of the classifying files and forms that I was just speaking about. And the 12th place starts with singles, which carries over to the 15th of September, which will be the first day of team events.
Okay, sounds really good.
Yeah, and then the playoffs for the team event is the 17th of September. So this
Okay.
event is going on from the 10th to the 17th, so a week-long event
Week-long event.
in Windsor.
Looks like David's sitting 1. Is he sitting 2? I'm not sure. Maybe.
Maybe is right. He is for sure have shot here with that back bowl. As Mike is coming in here with some pace as he knocks the jack back
That's
to
a
his advantage.
Shot. Beauty
As
shot there.
we have hands clapping here from his opponent. And now the jack is a bit tucked in there at the back right corner of the rink, or back left corner if you are watching it from the camera angle. Let's see what David has in store here for us.
Changed his mind. He's going forehand.
Right. That's a beautiful bowl here
There
from
he goes, yes.
David as he does take the lead. As a return applaud here from Mike to David as he throws a very good last bowl here, especially with considering the position these two are in.
I'll see if Mike can do the same.
Oh, as he nearly
Oh,
misses the
just-
jack and David's bowl. And I believe it looked to just be the one for David, if I'm not mistaken, as I will put one here for Quebec, and I will go confirm the score here with the score. As it is indeed 1919 and not 1918.
Okay, we missed a point.
On Ontario Point, we did.
Apologize to Ontario for that.
Right. We are doing our best here, trying to pay attention. It's not very convenient when the scorer and the two athletes are on the other end, as we can't really hear their conversation.
We've got some obstruction with fence and and bushes, lovely
That
bushes,
too.
but
They are lovely, yes. As
we're kind of tucked away under a tent trying
Right.
to hide from the sun, so we don't mean to give you the wrong scores.
as Mike throws in almost a toucher here, just going underneath the ball or the jack here, as he is holding shot for now. As David throws his bowl, his second bowl that is, as his first bowl is out of the frame.
Hanging on the bank, it looks like. And there's another one back there. Those aren't bad bowls.
Not at all.
Great bowl there too. What do we think?
I think Mike is holding 2 as of right now. As David elects to change hands here, as this bowl is starting to creep in here, as it might be a bit too heavy. No, it doesn't look
no.
like it. No, it's very close to Jack, actually.
Got one. Okay, so Mike has one. So that last bowl of David's cut down Mike from 2 to 1.
Right.
So
Which 2 would have been the game there, as it is
Right.
19-19. First to 21. As Mike elects to have back position there, as it is getting kind of crowded back there. Want to make sure you have one bowl back there to ensure some safety.
well, David's got second shot, so if he can get shot with this bowl, that would be game. Mike would have to figure something out.
As here comes the bowl from Quebec's David.
It's not a bad bowl coming there too. Little bit. No,
Oof.
I don't know.
That is very, very close to call.
I'm going to say that Mike still has shot.
Yeah, you believe so?
I think Mike still
Yeah.
has shot.
I would agree with you there on the just on the right hand side of the Jack there.
Yeah, and Mike has last bowl. And
So
Jack's open.
this could be the last shot of the match if Mike rises to the occasion here.
Coming with his backhand.
Yep. And it is tracking quite nice here. As it wicks
That's it.
towards, and that
That
is
is
game
game.
with a round of applause from the crowd, as that was a near perfect last bowl. And as expected, Lois, we had a great match on our hand here.
That was really entertaining. Some great shots.
As
Well done to both athletes.
Ontario wins
Ontario wins.
21-19. And I would like to thank Lois for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. It's
I-
been a pleasure.
It was a pleasure as well. And we'll catch you guys. Stay updated, up to date on our Facebook. We will keep you posted on if we are streaming the last women's game. Our cameras are a bit sensitive to light, so as soon as the sun goes down, it is very tough to see, but we'll keep you updated. I believe it's looking good that we'll be able to stream the last game of the women's here, but stay tuned on our Facebook.